Christine Lisi. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. The Jets' Aaron Rodgers era officially began today as players reported for training camp. Lots of buzz surrounding New York ever since the acquisition of the four-time NFL MVP from the Packers. The Jets, who haven't made the playoffs in over a dozen years, feel they finally got the missing piece. ESPN football analyst Booger McFarland.
Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's going to make their offense better. But offense is about timing, rhythm, cohesion, cohesiveness. I do expect them, by the time you get past the first 4 or 5 games, that offense should be able to put up 25, 28 points a game. And if they can do that, they're going to win 10, 11, 12 games, and that'll get them a good spot in the tournament.
Booger on Greeny. Steelers signed pass rusher Alex Highsmith to a 4-year, $68 million extension, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Over $28 million in guaranteed money.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. We are at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days in downtown Nashville. Day 3, and it's Bama Day, so the circus came to town earlier this morning. Bama, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, all taking their turns at the podium. And the commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey, will be with us here in about 15 minutes or so. Say it every year that Greg Sankey is very generous with his time. He doesn't have to do every single interview, but like Mike Slive, his predecessor before him, anyone that requests an interview is granted an interview if you can make it work on time. So we do appreciate it. We'll have the commissioner with us in about 15 minutes. And by the way, 2 years ago, I know I've told the story before, but 2 years ago when we were in Hoover, and I believe it was on that Wednesday, but we had Greg Sankey scheduled to join us, and it was literally 15 minutes after the Texas and Oklahoma news broke. So I don't know that we're going to have any grand-breaking news here today, but if there is, I wouldn't be opposed. So Greg Sankey will be with us here shortly. Looking forward to talking to him. Just recently, a contract extension for Greg Sankey through 2028. He's only 58 years old. He's been the commissioner for 9 years, so he took over at 49 years old and has already been in that post for almost a decade now. So we're excited to have the commissioner with us here in, again, about 15 minutes or so. We'll get to Florida and Kentucky are taking their turn right now. And earlier today, it was Alabama and Arkansas in the morning session. So naturally, when Nick Saban and Alabama come to town, it's going to be a very – look, that's going to be the headline stealer. As odd as it may sound, considering Georgia's won the last 2 national championships and are favored to win a third consecutive, the headliner is still Alabama. The star power, the attention, the number of people that flock to and hover around Nick Saban. I mean, it's still like Elvis came to town, man. So it was a big day with Alabama here, and as you would expect, Nick Saban got asked all the questions we expected him to get asked. Tommy Rees coming in, the quarterback battle, all of that sort of stuff. But he was asked also if there are more question marks this year than normal with his Alabama football team, and here's what Saban had to say.
We always have question marks about our team. Sometimes you all don't recognize them as clearly as what they might be, just like last year's team. Yeah, we had a great quarterback coming back. We had a great player in Will Anderson on defense. We had a lot of question marks on our team, but that gets overlooked because you have these two star players at critical positions. And, this year, maybe we don't have those kind of impactful players at those critical positions. So it's very challenging to develop the team so that they can compete at a high level. We have some experience coming back on both sides of the ball, and we also have a lot of new young players who can contribute in a very positive way to our team.
When you look at just specifically returning production this year, that's one of the spots where Alabama is near the bottom. Bill Connolly every year puts out his returning production rankings. It's just literally a metric that determines what percentage of your production offensively, defensively is returning. And Alabama this year is 125th out of 133 FBS teams. I mean, there's only 40% of their production returns. I mean, 125 out of 133. And to say it again, the reason why, I'm not this, I don't mean to come across as if like I'm stumping for LSU. I'm just trying to force feed this narrative or this conversation. But whenever Alabama is here, we're talking about LSU, and you're talking about who's going to win the West and everything like this is a giant part of everybody's conversation here, and everyone's asking the question. This is why you're hearing more about LSU being favored to win the West this year, because you generally look at who has the fewest questions against the most manageable schedule. Well, LSU returns almost 90% of its offensive production. Alabama is 125th out of 133 teams in the FBS in returning production this year. So, you look at that, and then you leverage that against the schedule that Alabama has. They're going to open up against Middle Tennessee, but then week 2, they got Texas at home. And I don't know what Texas is going to be or how good they're going to be this year, but if you're having questions at the most important positions on the field, and Texas is going to come in with Quinn Ewers and obviously trying to make good after a year ago where Texas probably feels like they let one get away, man, that's a tough draw week 2. Then you're going to South Florida. You're going to Tampa to play South Florida down there. You get Ole Miss at home. You're on the road at Mississippi State. You got to go to Texas A&M. Arkansas comes to Tuscaloosa. Then Tennessee comes to Tuscaloosa. You get the open date. Then it's LSU, Kentucky on the road, Chattanooga, and Auburn on the road. So there are spots in the schedule where I could say, yeah, look, Alabama's going to be favored at home against Ole Miss and at Mississippi State and probably at A&M and at home against Arkansas and at home against Tennessee. But, man, that's 5 straight league games and back-to-back weeks on the road against State and A&M. And if you show up in one of those games and don't play your best and one of those other teams does, you get nipped. So I get why we're looking at Alabama with those question marks. It's why I've said I'm picking LSU to win the West, and I think most of the media here are going to do the same. Now, the biggest question Alabama has, obviously, is the quarterback position. And Nick Saban told a weird story about his grandma making cake or something like that, trying to explain the quarterback battle. Here was Nick on the three-man battle there under center.
We need for all of our quarterbacks to develop on our team. I don't think anybody separated themselves to this point, even though I see improvement in each and every guy in terms of how well they're doing and how they're developing. But we need that on our team. We don't just need a starter. We need a backup. We need, good players at that position. Just like Jalen Milroe had the opportunity to play last year, we needed him to be ready in the Arkansas game and the A&M game. So when somebody separates themselves and nobody knows for sure when that is, and I can't establish a timetable to say on this date we're going to say this is the starting quarterback. It's going to happen when it happens.
I don't blame him for not trying to force that decision at all or in any way. And I do believe him when he says he's going to have a competition, because I don't think they know. I think they came out of spring hoping they had more of a solidified quarterback position there, but clearly they didn't, and they felt like they had to go get Tyler Buchner from Notre Dame when they brought in Tommy Rees as the new offensive coordinator. But the thing Saban said, he told this weird story about he used to, when he was a kid, his grandma would make cake, and he would go say, Grandma, when's the cake going to be ready? Can we eat the cake? And she's like, it's not ready yet. You got to let it bake. So that's basically what he was saying about the quarterback position. They're not going to name a starter because it's not ready. They got to let these guys develop and learn and progress. And sometimes Nick tells these homely, trying to be relatable stories, but then he tells a story like he did about how he just celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary a couple of years ago, and some friends gifted them a trip to Italy because that's what normal friends do. You gift your friends a trip to Italy for the 50th wedding anniversary. I need friends like that in my life. And then he tried to get out of it for 2 years. He didn't want to go. And so finally, Miss Terry got her way, and they went to Italy, and had a great time. So the homely Nick Saban, the very unrelatable, trying to be relatable Nick Saban. Muse, just get in my ear and make sure that we are good and you've got me.
Yeah, I've got you.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry about that. Our we just lost power very briefly here on Radio Row. We're back and ready to roll. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us. Wait, one more from Nick Saban, if we could. He was asked about Tommy Rees and coming in as the new offensive coordinator. Here is what the high praise that Nick Saban had for Tommy Rees.
Tommy's great. He's mature. He does a great job presenting to the players. He has good relationships with the players. He's very bright. He understands the game. He's a very good quarterback coach in terms of helping guys improve at that position, which I think is critical. We don't have any issues. He's very respectful of what we want to do and how we want to do it. And this guy's hungry, wants to learn. I think he's one of the brightest young coaches that I've been around for a long time.
One thing that you absolutely have to give Nick Saban credit for, there's few that have as much turnover on staff as Nick Saban, but he is very obviously not only good but elite at identifying elite coaching talent to bring on his staff. Now, Pete Golding, they replace on the defensive side. They bring back Kevin Steele, who's had a couple of stints already at Alabama under Nick Saban. So Kevin Steele, who spent a year in Baton Rouge, has been at Auburn, has been at Tennessee, he's now back at Alabama, a guy who clearly knows the league and knows it well. I don't worry so much about Kevin Steele calling the defense in the SEC. It's something that he's obviously done and can do and will, I'm sure, continue to do. But Tommy Rees, I think, is just a much bigger question mark because he is a young guy and you are also figuring out the quarterback position there as well. So for obvious reasons, there are a lot of question marks surrounding the Alabama Crimson Tide, but they're still Alabama. It's still Nick Saban. And, for those who say, are we overlooking Alabama? I don't know how you can argue that when they still have the best odds in Vegas to win the SEC West, and they're right there alongside Georgia and Ohio State with the best odds to win the national championship. So nobody's overlooking Alabama, but I think you're certainly right to question Alabama at this point. All right, it's after further review. I should have done this, Muse. I even told myself I was going to do it, and then I forgot right at the jump. Hit the Bud Light sounder, please.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Acted here. I'm sitting here.
I literally heard you talking before we went on, and I was like, oh, he's talking to me. And you're like, no, I'm talking to myself. And I heard you saying Bud Light.
I was literally saying, do the Bud Light sounder, do the Bud Light sounder. I was like, I will remember the Bud Light sounder. And then as soon as I get rolling, I did not remember it. But shout out to our friends at Mockler Beverage. Amazing people, great partners, and our open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. So drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, Day 3. We got a ton today. Had a chance to catch up with Dallas Turner, the All-American edge rusher from Alabama. Octavius Oxendine, who had a monster game against LSU, a defensive tackle from Kentucky, and a monster game against LSU back in 2021, that game in Lexington. He got hurt in that game, but in the game he got hurt, he was also named SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, so caught up with him. Our buddy Eddie Radosevich is here. I told you there's a lot of Oklahoma and Texas media here kind of getting the lay of the land as Texas and Oklahoma enter their final year in the Big 12. Eddie Radosevich joins us today as well. Former LSU defensive end, current Arkansas defensive end Landon Jackson as well. Our buddy Bud Elliott. You love that. You love that.
I mean, I heard it immediately.
I know. Our Bud. Bud Elliott joined us as well. So we had a lot to get to today, and I believe the Florida contingent is going to be running through here. I'm going to try to catch up with Ricky Pearsall, and I want to catch up with him because he was a receiver at Arizona State with Jaden Daniels. So we're fingers crossed, hopeful we're going to get him here on Radio Row in just a little bit. All right, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back from Radio Row SEC Football Media Days. The commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey, said to join us here in about 5 minutes or so. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark in downtown, the Renaissance in Southtown. I know Best Dress Ball is coming up here in a couple of weeks, and a lot of people go to Best Dress Ball in downtown, and they choose to stay at the Watermark, just sort of make a downtown evening of it. So many people who live in Baton Rouge choose to do that if you want some sort of a staycation in town. Don't forget, of course, about the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet, a 4-diamond hotel right in the heart of Baton Rouge. It's the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Great dining options. The Gregory downtown inside of the Watermark. Tell you every day about Tallulah. Inside of the Renaissance, great spot for that business lunch. If you need something quick, affordable, casual, upscale dining, it's Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. And if you're trying to host that event, no place better. From a board meeting for a dozen or a ballroom for 500. It's the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, two great properties in Baton Rouge.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of WALK.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Our pleasure to be joined by SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, his 9th year at the helm of the league. How are you, sir?
I'm a big fan of wings, so I walked in and turned on the ad right at the right time.
Your favorite wing sauce?
Oh, just traditional buffalo.
Buffalo?
Being
Do you
an
go
upstate
like
New York guy?
Mild? That's true. We've talked about
Probably
that.
medium would be safe. I've done the hot stuff before, but that was in my younger days.
Isn't it one of those things where like you'd rather do the thing that you can actually enjoy and it's not going to make you completely uncomfortable or miserable for like a week? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we're talking about wings, absolutely.
Of course we are. You earlier this or last week we learned that about your contract extension, so you'll be here through 2028. That's the deal. And don't take this wrong way, I was a little surprised to see 58 years old. So you got the job when you were 49?
51.
Is my math terrible?
Let's see. It was 2015. No, I turned 51, so I was 50 when I was announced.
So
I started. Yeah.
Have you thought about how long you want to do this?
I was asked at the press conference back in March of 2015 about how I would view my legacy, which I hadn't even started the job, and I'm defining my legacy.
Right.
And I took a step back, and I remember the question vividly. I said, in 15 years when I'm through, so that's till I'm 65. If there were a bunch of student athletes, they'd be in their late 30s all the way down to early 20s who said, I'm really glad he led us during this period of time. That would be my legacy. That would be my desire. I think that's still true, but it set up it for 15 years. I'm in year 9, so I'm over the halfway point. Yeah. But my 2 predecessors went until they were 72, so there's a lot of runway left.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes fans happy or mad.
No, I think it's a great thing. I mean, and I think about your time. It's hard to believe it's almost been a decade, but it's I'm sure it's hard for you to believe as well.
Yeah, well, the hardest thing for me is, or just the most surprising or unexpected reality is, I went from being the newest of the autonomy conference commissioners, the Big Five, and all of a sudden I was the longest tenured, and it's not relatively close.
Yeah.
And we had all this turnover in 19, 20, and then last year in 22 with the Big 12 change, and I went from being the newest to the most experienced. It's like, wow. Became a grandfather last week, so we had a big week.
Congratulations.
The Predator sent me a bubble hockey game, so those 3 big events, contract, grandchild, and a free bubble hockey game for my office, if you know what that is. But what the contract does is kind of sets a horizon out there. Presidents wanted to show that kind of support and commitment for me, which is appreciated. Yeah. And I think we've had a really good run for 8 years. Nothing's been easy. Nothing will be easy. But there's a lot of great opportunity ahead in this league.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you came into the league, I don't think the vision was adding 2 more schools, a pandemic, a lot of things that have happened. I mean, Dr. O'Neill, who we know well from obviously being in Baton Rouge, she just presented in the main room. I mean, there's been a lot of progress made in a lot of different areas.
I walked into a great situation. Thanks to my predecessor, Mike Slive. Actually, Jay Gouge was the president at Auburn University. When I took over, he called me and said, hey, a lot of people think you want to take over an organization that's kind of at the bottom and build it back up. And he said, you want to take over a great organization and make it better. And he said, that's what you're doing. And he said, you don't have to make huge changes. But he said, this first year you ought to make 50 little changes to put your stamp on things, and start thinking about that. The tradition of a new conference commissioner is they change the logo, they print a poster, and move the office.
Is that true?
Do that right away. And so if you can make it through not doing those things, it allows you to focus on things. And we did 50 little things. Some people would notice, like this movement of media days, nobody else does this. It was an idea that we had back then. The concert that we were going to have last night till the rain and storms got us, that was hatched in 2015, and some of those things take time to realize, but you can see change and progress around us. Katie O'Neill's a rock star, in my opinion. We had made an effort to hire a chief medical advisor in about 2016. He's now the NFL's chief medical officer, so we've got an eye for talent. We talked to some others, never found it, and the opportunity out of COVID was we came to know Dr. O'Neill, how effective she is, how knowledgeable, how her ability to cross disciplines. So she's got an infectious disease immunology background, but can talk to orthopedists and mental wellness, and builds a trust with even student athletes that she might meet for the first time. So we want to keep making that sort of progress.
Greg Sankey is with us. Nick Saban told a story about going to Italy. Do you travel in the off season?
I do, but I traveled to Dublin in 16, 17. And Nick and I were talking, so he's like, I get roll-tided when I'm over in Italy. I made a trip to Ireland. And so my wife and I are in Killarney, Ireland, 2016. I've been commissioner for years, so nobody really knows me. I did not have a logo on. My wife had a pullover with an SEC logo. We take a jaunting cart, which is a two-wheeled cart pulled by a horse, somebody else driving it, I'm riding. We get up, and there's a chain of lakes, and you're in a little, it's a big wooden canoe sort of thing with a motor on it. You navigate down, and you end up at a castle outside Killarney. And they're walking at me are 4 LSU fans who instantly recognized me. We took pictures. Two were from Chattanooga, two couples, 2 husband and wives, and one from Houston. And then the next year I went back to Dublin, and I'm in a pub, and there's a South Carolina soccer player that I had my picture taken with in the fall. So you don't really escape it, which is pretty cool. We've got a little place in upstate New York where I grew up, and we haven't traveled internationally since we bought that place. That's my getaway right now.
Yeah. Greg Sankey is with us here from Radio Row SEC Football Media Days. I know you get asked all the questions, but there's a lot of the same stuff. But a few things that I do want to talk about. Realignment is a thing that's obviously happening. Texas and Oklahoma will come in next year. By the way, do you say Texas and Oklahoma, or do you say Oklahoma and Texas?
I say Oklahoma and Texas.
Why?
That's the alphabetical.
Okay. It's a good explanation.
Yeah.
It keeps you clean, right? Hands clean. I wonder, because, like, it's a thing, like, with, do you say Alabama, Auburn, or Auburn, Alabama with the Iron Bowl
Depends
game?
where I am.
Yeah, right?
Same for Georgia, Florida, Georgia.
Bingo. See? I mean, you could always go with the band, Florida, Georgia line.
Sure,
Florida,
that's they get to name themselves.
Yeah.
I pivot around the game.
But do you have, like, a grand master, like, what-if plan somewhere in your office, scenarios in case something unfolds?
For some things we do. Yeah, for some things we do. The way I look at strategic planning is that we're really talking about strategic thinking. And if you bind yourself to this year-long effort, collect all this information, produce a plan, that plan is likely irrelevant a week later in this environment. And my strategic thinking approach is put yourself out. So let's just take my contract extension. Where do we want to be in 5 years? Figure out what I think will happen, what might be the ideal state, and what might be some scenarios, and then work back through essentially mile markers along the way. What do you have to think about? What do you have to do? What do you have to adjust? I did that in 2015 when I went through the search process. So when I had the first meeting of presidents and chancellors where I was in charge and the training wheels were off, I had a whole curriculum on here's what the things we're going to have to look at. The challenge for me right now is my day job is so intense and so full that finding time to think that way is very different than it would have been like during the interview process. And so that do we have every scenario planned? No, because you're going to chase your tail. Are there things we think about? One of the first times you and I talked about in depth was weather, hurricanes. Yeah. You go back to the 2016 season. Do we have a perfect plan? No. Do we have every contingency covered? No. Do we have contingencies covered very differently now? Absolutely. Our weather communication during the week and game day, the way we handle things. There's a lot that's changed, and there's a lot that has to continue to change. Katie just talked about medical timeouts, which are preparatory meetings, so that if you do have a Damar Hamlin situation, we've been very intentional about how we're going to react. It doesn't mean it'll be perfect, but it does mean you're prepared. So those are examples of some of the scenario planning, but really big picture strategic thinking and how I take an approach.
What about expansion of the league?
16 is a beast. There was a lot of conversation after Destin. Well, they're only playing 8 games. How can he let them only play 8 games? Then we had 2 weeks. We had this really cool program where he said, here's the matchups. And all you heard after was, wow, look at those schedules. Those schedules are tough 16 times over. We're going to have, when Oklahoma and Texas join, the last 25 years, we're going to have 8 of the national championship programs from those last 25 years. And I was trying to run through, so you'll have USC and Ohio State and Clemson and Florida State. So there are 4 programs in the nation that won national championships in that period, and we'll have 8 beyond those 4, the 4 that aren't in the SEC. And so I think there's a weight there. I'm not a recruiter. I'm very attentive to what's happening around me, very attentive, including watching messaging today from some people about what's happening. But I don't think we just have to move because of the strength that's inherent. What we have to do is operate really, really well. That's our responsibility.
I mean, I know your focus is obviously going to be on your league, but is realignment across college football, has that been a good thing?
Depends where you are. I think it's done nothing but enhance the Southeastern Conference, and I think that will be true going forward. You have to go back and look over history. You know, when the SEC was formed in 1932-33, that group left the Southern Conference. There were 13 schools. 10 of them remain. 3 don't. 2 of those 3 are in other Division I conferences. Has that been good? It's been reality, and we're going to make a success out of those realities. We've added Arkansas and South Carolina, both wins. Texas A&M and Missouri, I think both wins. And now Oklahoma and Texas, which will both be wins. And so I think it's been good for us. Now remember, we're not recruiters, and I'm not a recruiter. And you've watched others who've been very specific in their pursuit. They've pursued, the Big East doesn't exist essentially because the ACC took its members, Big Ten took one. The Big Ten's accumulated members from the Big East, from the ACC, from the Big 12 and the Pac-12 over time. Is that good or bad? It's taken place, and I think it's been healthy for us.
I know we're short on time, but am I oversimplifying it if I say to get to a 9-game schedule, the television partner has to sweeten the pot?
That's way oversimplifying.
Okay.
I don't think money leads you in these decisions. It follows. And elements of that are what's going to happen with the college football playoff. We have programs that are very intent on bowl access. Third is, where do we prioritize rivalry games? What we have done with the removal of divisions is allow our teams to play each other more frequently across the entire conference. I think that's really healthy. Conversations with TV are part of it, but they're not at the forefront, and I don't think they should be. If you make really good decisions, you're going to have economic opportunities.
He is Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the SEC. Always very generous with your time, and I know you got a lot more to do, so we appreciate it very much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. If we have SEC media days without the media, when we just have SEC days. So we appreciate those of you in the media who attend and make this event really what it is, which is something special, unique, and an opportunity to celebrate the game in the middle of summer.
Where are you going to be opening weekend?
I'm going to be opening weekend is here with Vanderbilt in Hawaii, but that's
not week 0.
Next week, Missouri on Thursday, here early Saturday for Virginia and Tennessee, late Saturday in Charlotte for North Carolina, South Carolina, and then I hear there's a game in Orlando on Sunday where my attendance is planned.
I think that's going to be a pretty fun one.
Oh, last year, doggone it, but yeah, it'll be a scene.
Can you push Verge and the guys to get us a week 0 game from now on when that's going to happen, so Florida State doesn't have the advantage playing Duquesne to work out the bugs?
Yeah, that bothered me too, greatly.
Thank you again for the time. Appreciate it sincerely.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
That is Greg Sankey, the SEC Commissioner. It is after further review. We're here at Radio Row in Nashville, Tennessee at the Grand Hyatt. Our coverage all week is brought to you by Hudco Roofing and also Rev Business and Relief Windows. We'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Of course, I've been reminding you about those storms in West Baton Rouge, but, man, not just the hail in West Baton Rouge, but Zachary, down the bayou, Laplace, Lakeview. We've been getting Lafayette, to our Lafayette audience. We've been getting so many reports and so many calls from our friends and our customers who've said, hey, had the insurance adjuster out, I got my scope of work, my paperwork, got a check from the insurance company. When can you come redo my roof? Well, the answer is now. We got staff. We got materials. We're ready to roll. Give us a shout, 364-1007, 364-1007. That's in the 225, 364-1007 or HUDCORoofing.com. That's HUDCORoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Roofing companies pop up all over the place. There's door knockers everywhere. ignore them and do business with someone someone who was here before and will be here long after. That's HudcoRoofing.com.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
A guy who's on everybody's preseason All-America team, a projected first-round draft pick is Alabama edge rusher Dallas Turner. And when Alabama was here this morning, I had the opportunity to sit down with, and just disclosure briefly, they were about to leave and said, man, I can give you just a couple of minutes with Dallas Turner. And I took it. I feel like, man, in a relatively short amount of time, if you can be this impressive, it says a lot about you, not just as a football player, but as a person. Here's our conversation with Alabama All-American rush end Dallas Turner. All right, day 3 here, SEC Football Media Days. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Dallas Turner, stud edge rusher, good enough to join us from the Crimson Tide here for a couple minutes. How are you, man?
Doing good, man. Blessed to be here.
Oh, man, it's great to see you. Man, last year, LSU and Alabama played an epic game. What are your thoughts? Remembers first thing when comes to mind when you think about that game?
I mean, LSU, very good. The atmosphere was crazy, first of all. But, LSU, they had a very good team last year with a very good quarterback. Solid O-line for sure. Great 2 good tackles. But, we just fell short. We should have finished better in the fourth quarter. The better team won that game.
You mentioned the tackles. I would love an impression I mean, you're obviously a veteran guy who's had a ton of success in the league. Going against two freshmen that you saw in Campbell and Jones last year. What stood out about those guys?
What stood out most about them two guys, their size. They're very big. I'll say that for sure. But, and they're big, but they're also able, they know how to move very well. Very good body control. Got to give their props to them.
Yeah.
For sure.
When you go up against guys on your team, what are things that you work on? I mean, look, you're a guy that's projected by everybody to be a top pick, All-American, all the stuff. What ways do you work to try to get better?
I just try to work on my weaknesses. So, if it's a passer's move that, how if it's something that needs to be worked on, I work on it consistently. Yeah. So, if I know I mastered a certain move or I know how to do a move very good, I don't really work on it too much in practice because it comes naturally. So, I just try to work on the things that feel uncomfortable to me, if that makes sense. I try and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah.
Interesting way to say it, man. Yeah. You've also, during your career, seen some really good quarterback play. I'm sure you got asked a ton about the quarterback situation. How do you see the roster, the guys that are on your team on the other side of the ball?
Honestly, all of them are good. I can't lie. All of them, they come in every day ready to work, ready to lead the offense with the right attitude. First guys to walk into the facility, the last guys to leave. You always see them working, doing something, even if it's even in the film room, watching film, throwing passes, working on accuracy, or just encouraging other guys, just being leaders on the offense. So, just seeing stuff like that just really shows you could really count on every single one of the quarterbacks we have in the room.
Couple more for you, and I'll go quickly because I know you're short on time. They're trying to get you out of here. Best offensive tackle you've ever gone against? Who's the toughest to get by?
Evan Neal.
Evan, your own guy?
Yeah, only Neal.
Have you ever made Nick Saban laugh or smile?
Yeah, I think I made him smile for sure. I probably made him smile, but it was on I took a chance because I didn't know I was gonna get cursed out if he was gonna laugh.
What did you do?
I think I said a little joke or something. A little inside joke that only that he knew about.
And you got him.
Yeah, and I got him.
He said today that his wife wanted to go to Italy for their 50th wedding anniversary. He didn't want to go, but he finally went.
Oh.
I mean.
It's Terry.
50.
It's Terry.
Italy, man.
Terry has a lot of power, but 50 years is a very long time, though.
It is. Sure. If you could win only one game, LSU or Auburn this year, which is it?
Auburn. It got to be Auburn.
It's got to be?
It got to be Auburn. It's the last week. Last week of the season. That's our rival. Even though LSU's a very good rival, but definitely Auburn for sure.
All right, last thing, fit check, man. What you got? You got Gucci shoes on.
Gucci shoes
Incredible.
on, little suit. I ain't gonna say the price or nothing. But black tie, French cuffs. Vivian Westwood cuffs.
Clean.
You
Look
can't
at
really
that.
see
Clean.
Westwood. Right?
I'll take for those listening, not watching. I'll take pictures and I'll tweet them. Yeah. Hey man, stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great season. We appreciate a couple minutes today.
Appreciate it. Roll Tide.
He did try to get a Roll Tide in there at the end, and I think Muse cut him off. So I'm glad he did. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Again, that's southpointvw.com. Remember Southwest Volkswagen for those of you in Lafayette as well, down in the 337. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. If you are thinking about buying a new car, there's no better place. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering, manufactured right here in the U.S. of A. at their Chattanooga plant, and of course, without the cost of a luxury vehicle. It's South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highlander, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, we are at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. The Gator players are down here, and quite honestly, I'm trying to get Ricky Pearsall over here, who is a Florida Gator wide receiver who played with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State. And he's visiting with our friends from On 3 down the road a little bit, but kind of hoping we'll be able to snag him, get him over here to wrap up hour number one. I do want to ask him about playing with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State, then playing against him now with he being at Florida and Jaden at LSU. So we'll see if we can make that happen for you as we wrap up hour number one. We're here on Radio Row, day 3 of SEC Football Media Days. Our coverage brought to you by Hudco Roofing. HUDCOroofing.com, and also Rev Business and Relief Windows. Stick around with us. Still to come, our visit with Landon Jackson, former LSU defensive end, Kentucky defensive lineman Octavius Oxendine, Bud Elliott from On 3 and the Nolecast covers Florida State, does a great job there as well as a national college football writer. And our buddy Eddie Radosevich, we got to meet him here as well, who covers Oklahoma for Sooner Scoop. You've heard him on the show a bunch, but we got to sit down in person here on Radio Row. So talk a little bit about Oklahoma's final year in the Big 12 and as they transition into the SEC. All right, it is after further review. Let's knock out a quick break, and we'll continue on AFR.
AFR.
Hump Day show is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. That's Pluckers, where every Wednesday is trivia night. So get your team together, get on by, live-action trivia. Every single team is going to win something. So even if you don't win a round, even if you stink, we still believe in everybody gets a trophy. Or not really, but everybody gets to spin the prize wheel. So even if you don't win a round, you win something every night at trivia. Pluckers, Nicholson, just south of campus, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. If you're not down for playing trivia tonight, no worries. You want to get your wings to go, you can. Call it in, get it to go, or you can always punch up Uber Eats or DoorDash and get your wings delivered wherever you may be. That's either a great location. One of the top 5 sports bars in America, top 10 wing restaurant in America, voted by ESPN and USA Today, respectively. It's Pluckers. With 2 locations, remember at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Paramedics had to revive an 11-year-old who overdosed on fentanyl in Zachary. His mother told investigators he had just smoked marijuana laced with fentanyl that he got from his 16-year-old brother. Detectives now trying to hunt down the drugs that sent the child to the hospital. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of ARK.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCOroofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week. Where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Wrapping up hour number 1, Radio Row, Day 3, SEC Football Media Days, joined now by Florida receiver Ricky Pearsall. How are you, man? You know what? It's going to help if I turn up your microphone.
There we go.
It's always
I was wondering, but I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me on here.
Man, it's our pleasure. How's your day been?
It's been fantastic. Been busy.
You like this?
Yeah, no, I do. This is my first media day, so, I was very blessed to be able to get this opportunity to do this. So
it's interesting because some guys come here and they try to get in, get out, not say anything. Some guys just cannonball into the deep end and go ham. You seem like a guy that likes to have fun, though.
Yeah, I definitely like to enjoy the moment for sure. I think, embracing all this because, it's a blessing to be able to do this. Not a lot of guys get to do this and have this opportunity. So, just making the most out of it.
You're a guy from Arizona, played 3 years at Arizona State, transferred to Florida last year. And you made the decision to come back to school. I want to ask first, why did you decide to come back to school for a 5th year?
There's a lot of factors that honestly went into it, a lot of prayers. But ultimately, it had to do with the guys in the locker room, I've developed a lot of good relationships with those guys. And then also I just trust Coach Napier and what he's got planned and, the culture that he's, changing. Like, I really just want to be a part of that change. So,
what was his pitch to get you to Gainesville when you transferred?
Just being a businessman. Like, I think Coach Nape is, the same exact way he's on the camera and off the camera. And I respect that of him, When I got in the portal, it was straight business, I'm not talking about NIL, was, football business. And he was about the same right there, he told me, he's like, you're going to come here, you're going to earn your spot, and, this is how it's going to be. He has a whole plan out for me. And, I really like that. And then obviously what first intrigued me was just Florida in general, the history behind it. And, I think that's what, caught my eye initially. But then coming on the visit and experiencing with all the coaches, experiencing Gainesville, and, I just fell in love with the place and fell in love with the fans. So, I made my decision.
Purple Porpoise, what about Gainesville? What was it about Gainesville that you loved?
Just being a college town. I'm not used to that. Being at ASU, it's, in the middle of the city. There's a lot going on outside of the university. So being in a place where it's okay, it all revolves around the University of Florida, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. You did, but look, to go from Arizona to Gainesville, the state of Arizona, where you're from, and obviously Arizona State, and then to Gainesville, pretty dramatic cultural differences there, man. Did anything catch you off guard when you went to Gainesville?
Yeah, the humidity. The humidity caught me off guard, but outside of that, I don't think anything really caught me off guard. I did want to go into a different environment, and I feel like making myself uncomfortable in that way would only benefit myself. So that was another deciding thing.
Yeah. You signed at Arizona State with Jaden Daniels. You were in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
God, he had an amazing freshman year, right? COVID came, and then there was obviously some turnover and some issues there at Arizona State. What do you remember about Jaden when y'all were in the same signing class early in your time at Arizona State?
Yeah, he's talented. I mean, right away, the first thing I noticed is how talented he was. He can run the ball. He could pass the ball. He's extremely smart. He is a more mellow kind of guy. But that poise is beneficial for him, and the lights don't get bright for him. So I think that was what stood out to me the mostly. But then honestly getting to know him and becoming one of his friends and one of his close buddies, I think that was the most important thing about Jaden, how genuine of a person he was. And, I got really close to him. We're still, friends to this day.
Y'all talk?
Yeah.
When was the last time y'all talked?
Probably maybe a week and a half ago. It was recent.
What was it like watching him play for LSU in the swamp last year? He had a good day that day, too.
Yeah, that one hurt. Because, we FaceTime a lot. And it'll be random. We'll just randomly FaceTime each other. And then, he talks a little smack. I talk a little smack back about the game. And then he comes in the swamp and does that. So I can't really talk too much smack about him. Yeah. But, he's a really talented kid. So, I expected him to do that. But hopefully this next year, it's going to be different.
It'll be great. You'll be catching balls. Nah, hopefully not. Hopefully Tiger Stadium is not a welcoming place for you. You'll be catching balls from Graham Mertz this year. What stood out to you about him so far?
Yeah, just how mature he is. He has a lot of experience. Right away when he came to the building, I think a lot of people gravitated towards him just because of his demeanor. He's got a good head on his shoulders. As soon as he came in, obviously being a quarterback guy, he came in and I wanted to reach out to him, being his receiver, and, we just hit it off right away. And now, last week we just went to the beach together. We were thrown on the beach. So just doing stuff like that and, developing that relationship and developing that trust and just moving forward with that.
What do you do with your free time?
To be honest, I don't got much free time just because I got this little schedule on my phone that I always follow.
What's on the schedule?
Here, I'll show you. I'll give you a little sneak peek.
All right.
A little sneak peek of the schedule,
My calendar.
This is not too much information where it's going to,
No, it's good.
But, I got a little daily schedule. I got my jugs, mobility, recovery, lift. My warm-ups to if I'm doing some field work. But, it's pretty detailed. I'm a detailed guy, so making sure, I hit on every cylinder when I'm out there getting that work. So
yeah. What got 1 minute remaining here. Ricky Pearsall is our guest joining us from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. When you all talk about this season in Gainesville, are you talking like, hey, let's go win the SEC East? Is it just be better than a year ago? What are those goals?
Yeah, that's always the goal, right? But, I feel like we got to worry about what's going on in the locker room with each other, making sure that we're, playing as one, continue to develop those relationships that's going on in the locker room, make sure the guy, the ins and outs about the guy, because you're going to play that much harder when you're on the field, and I think that's going to take us a long way. So when we go out there, it's just natural and we can execute.
Hey, man, hope you stay healthy, have an awesome season, except when you come to Baton Rouge.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate it. That is Ricky Pearsall. This is After Further Review. Hour 2 from Radio Row is next.
AFR.
Wrapping up hour number 1. Remind you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Remember, every single month they always have great monthly specials. This month, it's great specials on Vaser Lipo, performed by Dr. Todd Howell, a nationally award-winning cosmetic surgeon right here in Baton Rouge. They literally went to the National Aesthetic Show in Las Vegas and won the award for the nation's best aesthetic clinic. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, where you can learn more at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Tell you all the time also, of course, about hormone replacement therapy. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for HRT. Take that step, no matter how young or old you are. It's about how you feel. Learn more online at theantiagingclinics.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service. Powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. Big day for the Jets. Rookies and veterans reporting for training camp. Expectations sky high this season for New York after acquiring quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And the four-time NFL MVP's made it clear he came to the Jets to win and win now. ESPN Jets reporter Rich Cimini.
He's taken complete ownership. He knows that he's got to get these guys all on the same page. It's his offense, and he's trying to get everyone on board. So, if there's pressure, I haven't seen it. Of course, it's only July, so we're not going to see it this early. But I think he's all into this, and he's got something to prove to the Packers and probably the rest of the NFL as well.
Rich Cimini on ESPN Radio Mornings. ESPN Adam Schefter is reporting six-time Pro Bowl guard and team captain Zach Martin's considering not reporting to Cowboys training camp. Unhappy with his contract, believes he's woefully underpaid.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour two, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Our coverage all week brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Also presented by Rev Business and Relief Windows. We appreciate you for hanging out with us. Already a busy hour one. Good conversation with the commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey. Alabama All-American Rush and Dallas Turner was here. And then Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, who pretty fascinating cat. Ricky Pearsall is walking around with a black suit, black shirt, black tie, black pants, like Johnny Cash, man in black, and black sunglasses. So a dude that's got a little swag to him. So we certainly appreciate all our guests. Still plenty to come, including former LSU defensive end Landon Jackson, who is now at Arkansas. I had a good chance to catch up with him a bit earlier. But gentleman that everyone who follows and watches and loves SEC football knows and is known for 30 years, thereabouts, maybe even longer. A former Tennessee assistant, Ole Miss head coach, Duke head coach, now working with the Southeastern Conference office guy. We had a chance to sit down with last year and really enjoy the conversation. He's got kind enough to give us a couple minutes here is David Cutcliffe. Sir, how are you?
Matt, I am better than I deserve to be. This is a lot of action going on around here, isn't it? And like Nick Saban said today, this is football season. Here we go. I don't have to look and wait. It's here.
It's here. You give me 4 days of SEC talk in the middle of July that we can just binge on. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
every year.
And I'm going to tell you, it's going to roll right into camp. I'm already got my calendar out. I've had all the DFOs. Hey, send me all the practice dates. I love that part of it. And going into a football building, I'm going to see the operations and the equipment people, and it takes football smells a certain way in camp, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm excited. I know people think that's crazy, but that's what I've done my whole life.
Do you miss coaching?
Yeah, I mean, how would you not? But it's not in the books right now, and also I wouldn't do it to my grandchildren and my children and my wife, because for the first time, I'm not away from them all the time.
Right.
And I got 9 grandchildren that are grand, and I do see them so much, so often, that I absolutely, selfishly, I could go back coaching. I'm fit and got, everything I need, but that is selfish when you get right. And we got a lot of young, great coaches. I'm looking at these folks, and I'm like, wow, man, are you good or what,
Who's really impressive?
Everybody in this league. I mean, look at what Kirby's done. It's pretty amazing. But I can go, and I know Coach Napier didn't have the year he wanted, but I hear him. I watch him coach. I watch his coaches coach. Wow, look what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Look what Lane Kiffin has accomplished. I keep telling Coach, focus on the field, man. You're a great football coach. So, I'm leaving people out,
Sure.
but I'm just giving you I really love to watch, watch a lot of good assistant coaches. And they ask me, Coach, how can I become a head coach? I said, well, why don't you try this? How about trying to become the best football coach on the staff? And I mean the game, kicking game, both sides of the ball. Become a grinder in that regard. It's got to become important. How are you going to be a good head football coach if you don't really know all 3 phases of the game? And so I said, quit getting in a hurry, become a – and you know what happens if you do that? You ultimately become somebody's best choice for an opportunity. And don't tell me about money. I want to choke them if they bring the word up money. I never asked Coach Majors what he was going to pay me, and I took a $6,000 paycheck from a head coach, high school coach in Alabama to go to work at Tennessee. I didn't care, and it can't be about that. It's about the game and the players of the game. That's what it's about.
You know what is what's interesting, and I've theorized about this a little bit. The money has gotten to a point where a lot of coaches grind the way that you just described. From the time there may be a GA at 22 years old, and you know the path. GA, you get that first and you climb and climb and climb. And you've worked these long days for so long, which you just described, away from your family. And you get to this point, maybe you've been in it for 30 years, you're in your middle 50s or thereabouts, and we see guys walk away. Gene Chizik did, Turner Gill did, Urban Meyer did, Bob Stoops did. But we keep seeing a lot of these guys come back. And I just think for some of those guys, the thing that makes you elite is whatever that switch is, does have real trouble turning it off.
Well, here's what Coach Bryant said to me when I was pondering taking the job at Tennessee. He said, I think you should. He said, but I want you to remember this. He said, don't get into college football coaching because you love it or love the game. The only reason to get into this business is you can't live without it. And I had the heart issues the year I was out and had complications. I had triple bypass surgery. Everybody told me you can't go back to coaching. That stress will kill you. It took me 4 months to realize it was going to kill me if I didn't get back to coaching.
Interesting.
Now, this is a different time in my life as you approach 70. That's a different animal than where I was then. And I just mentioned, well, I could do it, but I'm trying not to be that selfish individual. Sure. I feel like I could have a 20-year career coaching in the NFL right now. I do.
Yeah.
When I say 20, I mean 20 too. But, yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I do evaluate coaches, and I'm not going to go into details. I have great visits with Coach Kelly. I had a great visit to Baton Rouge this spring. And I can tell you from a spring practice standpoint, I thought the standards that were held at the practice were as good as I've ever seen, which Why is that important? Because the seeds of victory only grow on practice fields. You can't sow them on a game field. And I told him afterwards, I'm not giving anybody rat poison, as Coach Saban calls it. But I told him, I said, I really think what you're doing, the standards without beating them up, is one of the magic pieces of the puzzle right now. And that's why LSU got better as the season went on last year. I went down there and watched them. He's a veteran coach. He's a really smart man. And, yeah, I just kind of gathered that all up as I was down there. And nobody's guaranteed of success. There's no one blueprint. And the wrong injury or some little problem you're not aware of in the locker room, anything can turn, and particularly when you're in a league as competitive as this one.
Right.
The winning edge, we used to get a knee, and we would deliver a winning edge to the team. A different coach would daily at the early part of practice, because that fine line is an edge. And I don't know why more coaches don't do that. It's a good education on football and life. But we've always done that, the winning edge. Anybody that played for us would know the winning edge. You put your helmet off behind the line. I didn't say on the line, behind the line, lock in, I want your eyes. And that's enough of a winning edge in itself, right?
Yeah. You did mention watching Coach Kelly's practice. Can you give me an example of something that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think that I'm looking at the second units everywhere I go, and looking at the demands and the consistency of the demands. And, I'm a firm believer in this, and it's changed a little bit through the portal, but you're only as good as your backups when you come out of spring practice. And I'm watching that performance, and I'm watching the quarterback and the demands, and I'm watching the fact that they can do this at a full speed without having a bunch of costly collisions. Is the best thing I can tell you. You don't want wasted contact in a practice, right?
Yeah.
And that's a skill that has to be taught by a staff, and I think he has taught his coaches that well. So I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, Coach. I'm not giving you any rat poison, but I was extremely impressed with what they were doing.
Man, you're going to take the job at LSU. That comes with its own pressure that everyone understands.
And that's the SEC.
Of
no
course.
matter where you walk in it. And listen, I've gone in that stadium as an opponent enough to know how serious the fan base is. I've seen things you're not supposed to see on earth going into Baton Rouge for a football game.
Now I got to ask a story then. If you're going to talk about being a visitor in Tiger Stadium, I got to get at least one.
Well, I went in there for the first time with an Ole Miss team. And I didn't really realize that rivalry wasn't about friendship or handshakes. And I had a group of women of upper ages that felt the need that the moon needed to come out. And it's vivid in my memory. I'm sorry, folks. And then seeing toddlers already know how to flip you off. So that's how you go into Baton Rouge.
Man, I've had the same thing happen to me in the Grove with Ole Miss,
Probably.
Ole Miss toddlers.
Probably.
He is Coach David Cutcliffe, doing a great job in the league office, and we're always glad when we get a couple of minutes. It's a treat to be able to talk ball with you for 10 minutes. We appreciate you for stopping by as always.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is our pleasure. That is David Cutcliffe. This is After Further Review. We're continuing from Radio Row here at SEC Football Media Days. When we come back, our friend Eddie Radosevich, who covers Oklahoma for Sooner Scoop. Next year, the Sooners and the Longhorns will be here, and a little bit of a peek behind the curtain there as they get set for that. I want to take a quick second, remind you about Traction Sports, tractionsports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Hey, remember, it is Wednesday, so next week, get another week of Traction Summer Baseball Camps. So get to tractionsports.com. If your son, 5 years and older, is interested in baseball, wants to learn the game, or needs to to let some of that energy out during the summer. Full and half-day options are available. TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com to register. Always remember as well, Traction Elite Physical Therapy. If you want to get back in the game, Traction can help you do it. Traction Elite Physical Therapy. You choose where you go for physical therapy. Choose the best. Traction Physical Therapy. Go to TractionSports.com. Okay, it's after further review. Our conversation about the Sooners with Eddie Radosevich is next on AFR.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week. Where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Days, and next year the event expands because we'll have 16 teams here with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. But a lot of the Big 12 media that covers Texas and Oklahoma have made their way here this year to kind of get a sampling of it before that transition happens. And I bumped into a guy that our audience has gotten to know a little bit. Eddie Radosevich is good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. This is new waters for us. I mean, coming from Big 12 to SEC, I think that I had an idea of what it was going to be, but this is big. This feels bigger. I don't know. It doesn't just mean more around here.
I remember this. The first year Missouri and Texas A&M came into the league. TJ Moe, receiver from Missouri, came. And the year before, he was at Big 12 Media Days. And someone asked him what was the difference, and he said, well, last year we were wearing golf shirts, and now we're all in suits.
Yeah.
And there's like 1,000 of you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the league does do this. It's a bit extra.
I like that, though. That college football's extra, is it not?
Yeah, especially now with everything that with conference realignment, you all are in the middle of it, man.
Sure.
So let me, I guess, sort of a feel. You were at Big 12 Media Days last week, and now you're here. From an Oklahoma, I don't want you to speak for Texas, but I'm sure to some degree you can. What does it feel like this year with this sort of last year in limbo weird transition thing?
It feels like everybody's going through a divorce, and we're still living in the house. I mean, I think that's probably the best way to say it, and it was awkward last week. It was very awkward. I think that, like, the Big 12 brass want to put out this front that, they're going to send them off, and they thank Oklahoma and Texas for everything they've done for the conference over the last 20-something years. But at the same time, you have the deputy commissioner taking shots at Oklahoma on a Kansas State podcast. You have the commissioner saying that it's a win-win for everybody when you're losing your two biggest brands from the conference. So it's been awkward, but at the same time, I think that, if everything went as goes, OU and Texas would be playing down in Arlington in the Big 12 championship at the end of the year, and it'd be something that everybody would hate. Like, there is a sense of hatred for Oklahoma, especially just because they've been so dominant in the conference for so long. They've always been the team that everybody, it's the biggest game, traveling to all these games over the last decade and covering Oklahoma. It's a different vibe when you go into an away stadium and you're with that Oklahoma contingency. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of sad at the same time. Somebody that grew up in Oklahoma City like myself, growing up in the Big 8, growing up in the Big 12, it's sad to leave that. But the excitement from the fan base and the excitement just within the program right now, obviously everybody's jazzed up to get to SEC.
So I'm going to ask kind of a dumb question, but I'm going to leave it open-ended. Why are the fan bases of Texas and Oklahoma excited about this?
I think that there's a certain level of passion that comes with college football that Oklahoma and Texas fans feel like their ideology matches the fervor, the passion that they have down in Baton Rouge or they have in Tuscaloosa or they have in wherever. And I think that, there is this idea that everybody wants to, you want to get to the top of the mountain. You want to get to the top of the SEC. And, with the new addition of everything that's coming into Oklahoma and, the pivotal year that's coming with Brent Venables in year number 2, I think there's a certain level of excitement, but there's also a certain level of a little bit of worry about how this is all going to go. Going 6-7 like Oklahoma did a year ago, people aren't used to it around Norman. And the way that they were losing games, they certainly haven't been used to that and accustomed to, just the small things that have been covered up over the last 4 or 5 years in 17, 18, and 19 when Baker and Kyler and Jalen were able to just go down the field and answer every type of problem that Oklahoma would have on the field. So, yeah, I think that the passion from the fan bases certainly matches up. And it's going to be fun. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it than it's going to be fun to go to these new places.
That's true. And the first year, of course, Oklahoma will visit Tiger Stadium.
Sure.
Have you ever been?
Just walked around. Never been to a game.
Yeah.
None of that.
It's I know there's definitely intrigue and excitement from the SEC standpoint. I also look at it from the obvious standpoint of just survival, right? Sure. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma were always going to – those are two brands that were never going to falter. I mean, they will always have an option, but does the Big 12 – it feels like the Big 12 has stabilized, though, even with losing Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, is that the way that internally it's seen?
I think so. And, for them to be able to go out and get the 4 teams that they did, I love what Gus Malzahn's going to be able to do in Orlando. He's already kind of started that train to get it back to where it was, taking over for Josh. And then, obviously with BYU, a national power, or at least a national brand in terms of what that football program is. And then Houston is, it's a little bit weird because there's so many people that look down on Houston just because they aren't the Texas. They aren't that school, but it still is a massive city down there. And Cincinnati is going to be interesting just because they're coming off of a fickle era that was extremely successful and making a college football playoff and that kind of stuff. So Brett Yormark's done an incredible job of stabilizing the conference because I think that, we have friends that are Oklahoma State fans and Texas Tech fans and Kansas State fans, and I think that there was a general concern about the direction of the program or the direction of the conference when OU and Texas made that announcement, and it came out from SEC Media Day that they were going to move down to the SEC. So it's they're always going to hate Oklahoma. They're always going to hate Texas because of the move. But at the same time, I do think that there's certainly a kind of a tunnel that is it going to be an Oklahoma State? Is it going to be a Kansas State that becomes the central powerhouse of what the Big 12 is?
Eddie Radosevich is with us from Sooner Scoop. A lot of OU and Texas media here this week covering SEC football media days. You also mentioned, where we're talking off air, which was interesting, the connections to both Shane Beamer and Josh Heupel, two SEC head coaches that have Oklahoma ties. What have been your impressions of how those two guys have done since leaving Norman?
It's been incredible. I think that, we were talking about this on the way out here even. The way that Josh left Oklahoma in 2014, the bridge was burned. And he's still, I think, pretty angry about how things went down. Basically getting fired from his alma mater, getting fired from the coach that brought him to Norman, from South Dakota, from Utah, from Snow Junior College. And to see him kind of reinvent himself and what Tennessee was able to do a year ago has been awesome. I think that, we have a lot of friends that are still on the staff with Josh out in Knoxville, and it's cool to see those guys kind of take that rise up with him. And then obviously Shane Beamer is as good as they come. I think he is absolutely phenomenal. There's a lot of people that, whatever happens with Brent Venables in Norman, if it were not to work out, which, there's a lot of people that are cheering for him just because he is such a good guy. I think Shane Beamer would be on that very, very short list if you wanted to go down that road of who the next guy would be if this doesn't work out.
That's interesting. A couple more. So you mentioned Venables. 6 and 7 a year ago. Like, I look at Oklahoma.
It's still crazy.
I look at Oklahoma and I go, I understand intuitively that even the greatest dynasties fall.
Sure.
I'm like, is this it for Oklahoma? Like, that and coming into the SEC, it's a fair question to ask. Right?
No, and you have to. You have to, because they were not good. They were terrible. They've been awful defensively for the last 5 years. Been in triple digits, total defense. Every defensive rank that you could think of, they've been awful. And I think that the one probably most disappointing thing for the fan base a year ago was Brent Venables was going to show up. He showed up with Todd Bates. He showed up with all these guys that have a great resume defensively, and they got worse on the field. And I think that on the flip side of that, you talk about an Oklahoma program that had gotten away with terrible defense in 17, terrible defense in 18. You saw it in 19 when they played LSU in the Peach Bowl. So, and now that was a different animal.
They are not a standard by which anything should be judged.
Sure.
Or they are the standard.
They were
a completely different standard.
They were unbelievable.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But at the same time, you come off of a 6 and 7 season. 5 of their 7 losses were by one possession. They lost, I think, 3 of the last 5 games, literally on the final possession of the game. And it kind of reminds you a little bit of what Bob went through in 99. It's not that drastic of a rebuild, obviously. He inherited a team that went 11-2. But at the same time, they got to get guys on the defensive side of the ball. And they did that in the recruiting, in his, I guess, technically his first true recruiting class. To go 6 and 7 and still get a top 5 class, to go and do what they did in the portal. I think there's hope that they can take that next step. And historically, everywhere Brent Venables has gone, year 1 to year 2 is a massive step defensively. And if they can just do something better, Obviously they were in a lot of games at the end of the year, and they lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter. And, as cliche as it is, there was a lot of those types of talking points last week at Big 12 Media Day. Is you got to get better defensively. You got to get better in depth. And we'll see. I think that, with their schedule this year, on paper, it's very easy. They should go win 8, 9, 10 games. And if they can get there, build momentum going into 2024 and the big move that's going to come, I think that there will be a lot of people around Norman and Oklahoma City and the state that feel a little bit more confident about the direction this thing's going.
Do Oklahoma fans hate LSU because of 2003 and 2019?
Yeah, it all that comes up is 2019 was a different animal just because they were so good.
Yeah.
The 2003, I think if you asked, if you did the man on the street interview around Bricktown in Oklahoma City, every person would have some type of horror story from Bourbon Street. But I guess like getting spit on is probably the least of your worries down there, as long as you don't walk out with some type of STD.
That's fair. I also was at a restaurant in the French Quarter one night, and a buddy of mine was sitting on a bar stool, and an Oklahoma fan literally just pushed him off the bar stool.
Yeah.
So
that's when I talk about like they match up.
They got run.
Yeah.
They went. The manager went and looked at the camera and ran the Oklahoma fans out of there. So it was like, try to get them out of here.
That's the way that
I was more talking about the game, but yeah.
Yeah, the game it is what it is. I think if you ask a lot of people, Kewan Jones, if he could have got the ball a little bit more, if Jason White wasn't hurt, but God, that was 20 years ago. So I think if you can't get over it by now, you're probably never going to.
I was a senior at LSU.
So that was perfect.
20 years. Oh,
you lived to tell the story.
Yeah, 20 years ago that sucks to say it was 20 years ago.
I know.
And then you see Nick walking around here, and he's like your biggest enemy now. So.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you sitting for a couple of minutes, man.
It's going to be fun.
Eddie Radosevich from Sooners Scoop. We're here live, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. That has been an interesting conversation about, I think Eddie said it really well. It feels like the couple that's divorced but are still living in the same house. That's kind of what it feels like with Oklahoma and Texas right now in the Big 12. Okay, we'll continue. As we mentioned, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, Arkansas taking their turns today. We already heard from Dallas Turner, the All-American defensive end. Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall was with us as well. When we come back, our conversation with Octavius Oxendine, Kentucky defensive lineman. Stick around with us here on AFR.
AFR.
Remind you about Clegg's Nursery. With 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, there's a Clegg's near you. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It is a great time to get by Clegg's. Look, a lot of people want to get outside and do some activity, move, get some vitamin D out there. But sometimes when it's 110 degrees, it's hard to go work out outside. How about you get in your lawn, get in your garden? Just plant something. Go by Clegg's Nursery. It's their full greenhouses, incredible selection. Maybe you're a green thumb. You want to plant that vegetable garden. They got Johnny Naylor seeds. If you're a green thumb, you know about Johnny Naylor seeds. They got them. You can walk in, just go straight to the back wall. You'll see all of them right there. But so much more as well at Clegg's Nursery. You want to beautify your exterior? You need that doormat with garden flags or tuned wind chimes. They got a great selection at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Be sure to tell them Matt sent you in to see our friends at Clegg's Nursery.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look.
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2640.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
We continue from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Coverage all week brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Also, Rev Business and Relief Windows. Wildcats taking their turn today on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Senior defensive lineman Octavius Oxendine, good enough to join us here on site. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. What do you think about this whole thing, this whole media circus?
Honestly, it's a lot, man. I've never been to something like this before, so coming in, I didn't know what to expect. Now I've been here, so I see where the energy's at, and I'm with it, though. I like it, talking to everybody, seeing everybody. It's just a lot going on.
It's true, man. Like, there's two ways to do this, man. You can either try to get in, get out, not say anything, or you can embrace the madness and just go roll with it. So
Yes,
hopefully you do that today, man. How's this offseason gone for Kentucky? Obviously in a transitional year, most notably quarterback with Will Levis going to the draft and transferring Devin Leary coming in, man. How's the offseason been?
Honestly, I feel like this is one of our best offseasons we had. I've been here probably 3.5 years now, early enrolled, so coming in, we was always a high-paced team. Like, we always had great off seasons. Coach always tell us to punch the clock, punch it hard, do everything we're supposed to do. And we always just went with the flow. So I feel like we always feel like some things would just come to us. And I feel like this year is something that we've barely been focused on. A lot of things won't be handed to us. So we got to punch the clock, be consistent day in and day out. And I feel like it's something that Devin's been doing, really. So Devin's been punching the clock. The offense has been punching the clock with him. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we have this next month.
Man, I think so much of the questions about Kentucky this year are going to center around the offense, right? Where, you mentioned Devin. Of course, look, you lose a running back transfer. Cavassier leaves. You got some transfers coming in. Does the defense feel more stable, more settled on that side of the ball with you guys?
That's something that me and the other leaders have definitely discussed. Like, we always say that the offense comes along a little bit slower than the defense, just because we always have those leaders, always have those faces, and all those faces that's been around. And the offense always has new faces, new coordinators, things like that. But it's always something that Coach always tells us, if we stay consistent and you keep punching the clock, we'll become that big family. We'll know the play calls like the back of our hand on the offensive side. So it's all about us just buying in. We all buy in. Like, he told us that SEC is just like the NFL right now. Like, he said it's just like free agency. So we get new players in, we get new players out. But he always says, like, where we have in the room right now, this is our team. So that's what we focus on. So
that's great perspective. And Octavius Oxendine is our guest, Kentucky senior defensive lineman. But you're a guy who, in the portal era, where guys don't typically stay, man. You know, you have stayed. You know, you mentioned you're early enrolled. You've been there 3.5 years, going in the COVID year too, by the way. Why did you stay? You made I know you're from Kentucky, but you made the decision for Kentucky and you stayed. Why was that right for you?
I feel like it's the coaching staff, honestly. Mark Stoops, man. We're a big player-led team, so I feel like everything that we want, we have to go get it ourselves. So Coach always has a blueprint for us for the season, and he always just tells us, go punch that clock, stay consistent. So I feel like that was a big thing for me. Like, even when I got injured, it was just coming back, punching that clock, being consistent. Like, I always feel like if I leave or somebody leaves, you're just giving up. Like, everybody's circumstances are different, so I'm not saying everybody that leaves the school is giving up. But I feel like you got to stay there. You got to sit behind some of them 4 or 5 stars. You got to learn your lessons. You got to really go through it and really – it's life. We're all going through it right now, and I feel like it's something that's the same way. Like, don't transfer and leave. Stay there. Believe in your coaches. They believed in you. They brought you into the school. They gave you a scholarship. They believe in you, so you got to believe in them.
It's good perspective, man. That's kind of – it's also how Mark Stoops has kind of had to build that program too, right? Like, we'll go get those guys that are committed that'll say, man, I see something in that guy that I know I can build over his 2, 3, 4 years. And 'cause I'm sure that was the pitch he gave you when he was recruiting you.
Yes, sir. It's just always about recruiting development. And I feel like it's something he's always been big on. And I feel like it's always been our motto. Like, he always brings guys in. Yes, we get 4 or 5 stars, but sometimes you get those little guys that's just dedicated about football, that just want to play football and just listen, being coachable. And I feel like if you just follow the blueprint we always have in the preseason, that season will go just how you need it to.
You do you look at your schedule?
Honestly, it's up during the season most definitely, but during the off season we always big on focusing on the task at hand.
Yeah.
So it's not something I always just skim over, look at.
First 3 games are at home: Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, and Akron.
No, for sure. I knew that.
Pretty good way to start. Get your feet wet. At home. Then you come here to Nashville to play Vanderbilt.
For sure.
You know how that game went last year, right?
For sure.
So y'all got that one circled in a big way?
No, honestly, I feel like as a personal level, it's probably circled for me personally more than anybody else, just because I feel like some things that I could have did personally more better in that game. That's just to change the way of the games. Penalty late in the game by me, football mistake, things like that happen. Coach told me after the game, it's a football play, mistakes happen. But honestly, that's one of those things that we got to stay consistent at and punching the clock. So that's one thing that we've been big on, too, is just every week, like I just said, Coach always tells us, focus on the task at hand. That was one of those weeks that we probably weren't focused on the task at hand. And that week it was Vanderbilt, and we didn't have our mind focused that week.
Is everyone here, the media, are going to pick Georgia to win the East and Georgia to win the SEC? The 2-time defending national champ, they've earned that right, and that's what's going to happen. Is this Kentucky team capable of winning the SEC East and going to Atlanta?
I feel like that's what we always try to get to. Like, that's our motto. We break it down in the offseason on Atlanta. Like, I feel like that's something that we always get to. We've been in 7 straight bowl games. Like, we've been there, done that. It's bigger things out there that we're trying to get to. So we're definitely trying to get to Atlanta. That's what we look at. So whatever's in the path, that's what we're trying to beat. There's no team on our schedule that we're like, hey, we have to beat them. I feel like it's every team on our schedule that we're like, hey, we have to beat all of them. So, I mean, that's our big day. That's the big plan. The big picture is to get there.
2 more things. Kentucky defensive lineman Octavius Oxendine's with us. You have played LSU once in your career. It did not go well for the good guys that day up in Lexington. What do you remember about that game?
Honestly, I feel like that was probably one of my best games in college football. I feel like even overall, just the energy as the team, of the team. And nothing against LSU.
Well, a lot went right for the guys in blue that day.
Yeah. It was a great game, top bottom. I feel like LSU came in with the right mentality too. It was just 2 games balling it out, and like we were the most physical team that night. Just like I said, everybody has to focus on the task at hand, and I feel like it was a great season for us, and we definitely had the momentum going into that game, and we were definitely high energy, top to bottom. It was a blessing, though, going into that game. It's actually the game I got injured, but same game I got defensive SEC lineman of the week.
I remember it, man.
Yeah, so it was a blessing. So it was a blessing and a curse, but at the same time, I feel like that curse turned into another blessing, so we're good.
And being from Kentucky, I always think of horse racing, whiskey, Kentucky basketball. I'm not going to ask you about whiskey because you don't need to be drinking whiskey. But you can. I mean, I love whiskey. You a big horse racing guy?
Honestly, my roommate's a writer, so he actually does like what everybody's here doing right now. So I'm actually always around it. So and actually one of the new jobs he just took on was writing for the horse races and stuff like that. So I've been learning a lot lately, and it's actually a tremendous world, and I actually want to get into it. Like it's a different side of the world you never think about. Like it's a lot of money in horses. We're in the Bluegrass State. I mean, honestly, I didn't know too much about it before. He just started my job probably about 3 months ago. He's been talking to me about it every day. We talked about it literally last night, so it's crazy you asked me about it. So I can tell you a little bit about
No, tell me something. Tell me a little bit. Give me something I don't know.
Okay, all right. Look. So the bloodline for horses is actually crazy. So Secretariat's bloodline is actually still going around, and I think his grandson was sold. I believe he told me the other day for like $32 million. So yeah, the money in it is definitely crazy. It's a whole different side of the world that like you would never imagine. You would never imagine a horse goes for 32. Like, and it's crazy. But
horse racing money or NFL money?
Both. Honestly,
I like it.
We're gonna try to do both.
I like it. He is Octavius Oxendine, Kentucky senior defensive lineman. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, appreciate you.
We're at Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Our coverage all week brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Appreciate our friends Hudco Roofing who have made our time here possible. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, and of course presented also by Rev and Relief Windows. Okay, it is After Further Review. Thanks for being here with us. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2 and come back, wrap up our second hour. Still ahead in hour number 3, we've got Bud Elliott from 24/7 Sports. He's the creator of the Blue Chip Ratio, something we reference often, but he is also the host of the Nolecast, a very successful, popular Florida State podcast. So we'll ask him about LSU's Week 1 opponent, and also former LSU, current Arkansas defensive end Landon Jackson was here earlier today. We had a chance to visit with him. That's coming up as well in hour number 3. Stay with us here. It is AFR Day 3 from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River Cities 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Hey, when you call River Cities 1 Hour Air, I want to remind you, make sure you ask about their service club membership, because one of the most important things about that, it gets you complimentary seasonal maintenance that I always tell you about it, and then also it gets you front-of-the-line service and membership pricing if you do need repairs. It's totally worth it. And, of course, no matter what, you'll always get exceptional customer service like Jan Alderman did. Jan sent this 5-star Google review. Jason, her tech, was very professional, very knowledgeable, very nice. Would recommend him to everyone. Thank you for the quick response always. Remember, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. So when River Cities 1 Hour Air is scheduled to come out to the house, they'll give you time. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. They value your time and they value your money at River Cities 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River Cities 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Paramedics had to revive an 11-year-old who overdosed on fentanyl in Zachary. His mother told investigators he had just smoked marijuana laced with fentanyl that he got from his 16-year-old brother. Detectives now trying to hunt down the drugs that sent the child to the hospital. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service. Powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals.
But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Call in Baton Rouge. I'm remembering what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Peter Burns is here. Hey, man.
This is kind of embarrassing.
Why?
Even for you, Moscona.
Why?
Because how long is this segment?
5 minutes.
You invite me on for the shortest segment in the history of AFR. Like that.
Oh, the history of AFR. No, there's
like how long? Your segments are normally like 15 to 20 minutes. I know Gordy just allows you to bump good commercial breaks whenever you have a really good guest, and you invite me on, and then you say, by the way, we're only on for 4 minutes.
5.
Well, now it's 4 because you keep yapping.
I'm sorry, you're the one who just complained about the break structure here.
Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
Not football. Because we all do that plenty all week, and then I get to talk to you about anything but football.
Has this been a good week, by the way?
I wish they had.
How would you change it? If I put Matt Moscona, you're going to be put in charge of SEC Media Days. How do you change it to make this thing really pop?
I get to mandate what players come.
Ooh,
that would be my biggest change. Because
and instead of letting the school as the school
coaches use this as a reward for veteran players, and I understand that, and they should. Because a coach, that's what a coach should be concerned about, his team and that sort of thing.
Yeah, leadership.
But as a member of the media who came here to cover this event and to talk about the interesting stories in the league, like I keep bringing this up, why is Devin Leary not here?
It'd be a fascinating story.
Like, are you kidding me? That's one of the most interesting stories.
He's one of the linchpins of where this conference is at as far as quarterback play and what he's going to bring, and if Kentucky can be that team. Yeah, I believe that.
Jackson Dart should be here.
I'd bring every single Ole Miss quarterback, all 19 of them.
Bring all three. Bring Spencer Sanders, Jackson Dart, Walker Howard.
Just put them all together.
That's what I would do.
I'll meet you halfway. How about the school gets to pick 2, and Moscona gets to pick 2? I'd be good with that.
Okay.
So that way, too. Hey, the school says you got 2 guys. These are the 2 guys that I think that represent our school, and then whoever you want, y'all bring in too. I'm good with that.
But I will say, so the question you asked, has this been good? I think sometimes we, the people here who wear the little name badges and everything and are credentialed, think about it through our lens. And really the purpose of this event is for us to tell stories for the audience. So I think it's really just on us to make sure we're doing our jobs to cover this event, to tell the stories that would be interesting to our audience.
That's like the most mature thing you've ever said. That's actually a really, really good take. I'm so impressed with you right now.
The most mature thing I've ever said?
No, because that was
Why do we do this?
Right.
I talk into a microphone for people.
Not but you're right. I never thought about it that way. I'm very self-serving, Matt Moscona.
Clearly.
You don't know that. Have you watched my bets with Chris Doring?
They're so good.
They're so good.
They're so good. Well, I'm like, I just wonder, what does he get to lose next?
I just, by God.
And what's it going to be?
I have never been this invested in the LSU football program and the fact that I do not want to have to dress up. Because can you imagine the payback and what it's going to be like if indeed Florida ever beats LSU in football in the year 2038 of our Lord? What that payoff is going to be?
For those who don't know, and I'm sure there are very few at this point that don't know, but would you please explain what happened?
So we've always had that LSU-Florida bet. He had to dress up as a clown. Brian Kelly saw him last year. So the last 4 years, LSU beat Florida, of course, and he had to dress up. So this year for the College World Series final, we said, let's put one together. And we weren't even going to have a wager. We were going to do like a steak dinner, just kind of something fun. Commissioner Sankey texted me the night before, and he goes, you and Doring clearly are going to have a little wager, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So we said, hey, the loser had to dress up like the winning team's baseball player, and they had to travel all the way to SEC Media Days to Nashville. I legitimately booked my flight based on what time he was landing in Charlotte and connecting. So that way, and I got to the airport at a full hour before. Okay, I'm just sitting. I felt like paparazzi and TMZ just couldn't wait till he got off the plane. It was awesome.
You got to follow Peter on social media if you haven't seen the picture and the videos of former Florida wide receiver Chris Doring, who's always a good sport too, by the way.
Oh, he loves the attention. You know that.
Head to toe.
Where's the medium?
Yeah. He's also a unit at 50 years old, which is crazy.
Don't say that.
No, give the man his props.
No, he is.
Give the man his props. He's 50 and he is a unit. He looks like he could get on the field right now.
He does.
It's incredible.
Yes.
So not fair. Look, all that, we still have a minute left. Exactly 1 minute.
It's exhausting.
I think
I'm good. No, I'm good right now. We could just close it up.
Okay, well, that was Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Thanks for stopping by. What's the wager going to be with?
I have no idea. I need you guys to hit me up on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN because I already want to start workshopping LSU Florida this year about what it should be.
I was going to say LSU Bama with you and your bride.
That one's going to be tough.
Peter married a Bama girl. I don't get it.
It's
she's lovely, by the way.
She's much smarter and much
except
prettier
for
than me.
The Bama thing.
Yeah, and now it's always the Bloods and Crips in my family because my daughter Bo loves Bama.
Oh,
my son Thomas all in on LSU. So
Tiger.
We'll have to work on it.
Tiger
Joe.
Tiger Joe. People actually believed your name.
Oh my God, the people. Hey, after Joe Burrow did his thing in 2019, guarantee you it.
I have 8 seconds. That's Peter Burns of the SC Network. Go follow him on Twitter. Thank you.
Love you, buddy.
All right. We'll see you later. Hour number it's hour 3. That's the one that's next,
AFR.
All right. We're brought to you by Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com. What a cool product, man. What a cool company. If you haven't seen this, you've heard me talk about it, but you haven't seen it, go to the website. Jim Woodworth is the owner, does an awesome job. A guy who's really made his career in his life in helping people recover from disasters. Post 9/11 in New York, found his way down to the Gulf region after the BP oil spill. Well, Mold Zero is his patented non-toxic dry fog. So if you have mold or odors or any other bacteria or pathogens, come in, they spray this formula, this fog, all throughout your home, your office building, apartment complex, whatever it may be, locker room, gym, anything where you're trying to kill mold or odor, bacteria, anything like that. And they just let it dwell, and as soon as the fog dissipates, you're free to go back in. Totally safe, totally mold-free. It's Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Lisi. More than 15 former Northwestern athletes have retained attorneys seeking damages against the school due to its hazing scandal. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said he's received reports of hazing within Northwestern's baseball and softball programs, in addition to growing complaints within the football program. The Jets' Aaron Rodgers era officially began today as players reported for training camp. Lots of buzz surrounding New York ever since the acquisition of the 4-time NFL MVP from the Packers. The Jets, who haven't made the playoffs in a dozen years, feel they finally got that missing piece. ESPN's Booger McFarland.
Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's going to make their offense better. But offense is about timing, rhythm, cohesion, cohesiveness. I do expect them, by the time you get past the first 4 or 5 games, that offense should be able to put up 25, 28 points a game. And if they can do that, they're going to win 10, 11, 12 games, and that'll get them a good spot in the tournament.
Booger McFarland on Greeny. The Steelers signed pass rusher Alex Highsmith to a 4-year, $68 million extension, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter, over $28 million in guaranteed money.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. We're here from Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Final hour of day number 3, and 1 day to go tomorrow. But today, Radio Row and SEC Football Media Days was all about the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Kentucky Wildcats, and the Florida Gators. A quick pivot, however, because I had a chance to visit with our good friend Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports. Also Nolecast, so covers Florida State. as well, and had a great opportunity. This is the guy who created the blue chip ratio, which we reference a lot. So it's always good when we get a couple of minutes to pick Bud Elliott's brain, and we got to do that earlier today on Radio Row. We continue from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Pleasure to be joined now by Bud Elliott from 24/7 Sports, also the Noel Cast. We got a lot to talk about with this guy. How are you, man?
I've been well, man. Just taking it all in, talking to some folks on Radio Row, talking to our CBS folks, and doing our Cover 3 podcast, so it's been good.
It's an interesting week. I have made the point several times. I think this is the weakest quarterback year in the SEC since 2014. Not everyone agrees with that. There's only 5 quarterbacks that are coming all this week. Your thoughts on the quarterback class in the SEC this year?
I think it's the weakest known quarterback class, like the weakest returning quarterback class that we've seen recently, right? Like last year, think about who's coming back. We had a Bryce. We had seen Stetson Bennett win a national title. I don't know who will be voted first, second, third team all SEC quarterbacks this week, but if it's a Daniels, if it's Mississippi State, Arkansas, do we really think that those are the best 1, 2, 3 that the SEC has to offer at quarterback? If so, then guess what? It's a down year at quarterback. If they're the 4, 5, 6, if new guys who have recruiting pedigree, that NFL draft upside, if they emerge, or if maybe one of those guys takes a step, then okay, maybe not.
To your point, remember back in 2012, we were at this event, and Johnny Manziel wasn't.
Yeah.
They had Jamil Showers at this event for Texas A&M. It went pretty well for Johnny football that year. So it could absolutely develop. Among other things, you obviously also are the creator of the blue chip ratio, which is something we talk about on the show a lot, and I really love this because it's so simple, but it's so perfect. So real quick, elevator pitch version of what the blue chip ratio is.
What is the absolute minimum level of talent that you have to recruit if you want to win a national title? Not development, not player retention, not coaching, not culture, just purely the minimum level of recruiting that you need to do to win a national title. It's been good for about the last 2 decades, basically since recruiting rankings became a thing that we could, sort of bank on. And this year we have, 15, 16 teams, I think, and that seems like a lot. Again, it doesn't measure culture, where you are in your developmental cycle, scheme, coaching, player dev, but it's just at its core, have you recruited well enough? And you need to be over 50%, which means more 4 and 5 stars than 2 and 3 stars over the last 4 classes.
And if you're not on this list, it's not. If you're on the list, it's not to say you will win or are likely to win. It's just say if you're not on this list, you have no shot. You cannot win a national championship if you're not on this list.
If you're an incoming student to LSU, you probably remember your SAT prep, necessary but not sufficient condition. It is so far it's been a necessary but not sufficient condition. Nobody's busted through. A couple teams have come really close. I'll always love that Nick Saban onside kick because that Clemson team was like a 49%er, and when he onside kicked against that took care of it. Thank you also to Urban Meyer for taking out Marcus Mariota and the Ducks that one year that they finally made it to the title. Obviously, TCU didn't need to sweat that one that much. They made it, but they also were 8 touchdowns away. So.
There are 6 SEC teams on the list this year. The most intriguing on the entire list to me is that Texas A&M is 4th on the list. Should I be taking them more seriously than I am because I believe they're going 8-4 and they're going to fire Jimbo Fisher?
I think if they show early signs of dominance, then you need to quickly adjust your, in betting parlance, your power rating, right? If they come out and they're scoring in the 40s and they still play pretty good defense. They played decent defense last year, right? And we know they have some guys who are just absolute studs up front. Walter Nolan and some of those dudes are that's kind of what future first-round draft picks look like in high school, and they showed encouraging signs last year with their young guys up front. If they get the offensive piece right, I think you have to take them seriously. Am I taking them super seriously in the preseason? No. From a betting standpoint, they're extremely annoying because my computer's going to tell me one thing, and I have some eyeballs too. So that's going to tell me another. But if they show early signs, you need to be adjusting up quickly.
Okay. He's on Twitter at Bud Elliott 3. You'll give him a follow, of course, 24/7 Sports, CBS, also the Noel Cast. I'll get to Florida State in a second, but I got to ask about LSU. Coming off of a 10-win season where they surprised a lot of people, including the odds makers, what is the sort of bird's eye view projection for LSU?
I think they're one of the better teams in the country right now. I think Malik Neighbors is the best receiver in the SEC, and Daniels to me kind of turned long touchdowns into 25-yard gains at times, underthrowing him not hitting them. If Daniels takes the next step as a passer, I think they're really scary because the offensive line, I thought it got better and better as the season wore on. You had 2 really young tackles that I'd seen play Future 50 because I do the recruiting stuff for us, and we know those guys have a lot of talent. They've got those early games, and I think the secondary has to gel. I mean, that's the question I have. Like, do they have elite guys in the secondary? I think Denver Harris has elite upside for sure. Will all the transfers gel in the secondary in time for some of those important early games, including the one in Orlando?
That's a beautiful segue. So let's talk about the game in Orlando. You, as we mentioned, host the Nolecast. You know Florida State obviously very well. I look at all of the returning production, and I go, man, they should be really good. But there's that thing that just makes me go, am I really going to believe in Florida State as like a legit title contender? Should I believe in Florida State as a legit title contender?
I don't think they're like a Georgia-level team. I don't know that they have that upside, but I do think they have a pretty high floor because of they have a whole lot of guys on this team who will be 6th and 7th rounders or like priority free agents when the draft's over. I don't know that they have a whole lot of guys, who are top 50 picks, maybe some of the top 100. But I will say, like if you're LSU, Dane Brugler of The Athletic came out with his draft list. He had Keon Coleman as his number 4 receiver and Johnny Wilson as his number 15 overall receiver. So they do have some elite upside guys at certain potentially difference-making positions. Obviously, Jared Verse off the edge. LSU fans know a lot about him after last year, and that's a hard first game for Will Campbell to play. Against that guy who came back, and I mean he came back because he's trying to go from a late first, early second projection to a top half of the first. Like that's a pretty known commodity there at pass rush, and Norvell's teams generally find a way to score points. So I think they have some upside, but a very high floor. If Jordan Travis stays healthy, I'd be surprised if they had a poor season.
You mentioned Verse and Wilson. We know Jordan Travis came back as well. It's a big part of why Florida State has so much returning production. But which was the most significant decision for this team? Travis obviously is
we're aside from quarterback, I think getting Verse the impact pass rusher because it allows a guy like a Pat Payton who was a dude they battled like a Georgia and Bama for and won 2 years ago to develop as your number 2 pass rusher opposite him. Like that's a guy with high upside, a guy that I know internally they think could go pro as well after this year if he if kind of all comes together for him. So Verse coming back, I would say, is the biggest thing. However, Keon Coleman is kind of different. I mean, they had poor quarterback play last year at Michigan State. He's a guy who was legitimately on the Michigan State basketball team and seeing some minutes. Not a lot of these guys. I play basketball.
Yeah.
If you actually play basketball for Michigan State, that's a pretty good, pretty good athlete. And so I do think that they have some unique matchup problems for teams that maybe they'll be able to outplay their talent even because of the sort of the different body types they have.
What's the biggest hole, weakness, question mark, however you want to phrase it, for Florida State as the season begins?
I don't think they're special at linebacker. I think they're just like solid, dependable. They don't have I think LSU's backers are clearly better, in terms of athleticism and upside. They're kind of dependable. It's 2 fifth-year seniors. They're not going to make a whole lot of mistakes and blow coverages, but they're not special athletically at linebacker. And I don't think they're special at offensive line. They are very deep and very experienced and well coached, like much better than they were 4 or 5 years ago where they're kind of the laughingstock. But I think if you have a truly elite defensive line, you could give them some problems. I mean, I guess that's a lot of teams in college football, but I don't see like major difference makers. I know they feel great about their top 8, though.
Yeah. He's on Twitter at Bud Elliott 3. Last thing, they always have us vote for order of finish and everything. Who will you put at the top of the West? And I'm presuming Georgia top of the East?
Georgia top of the East for sure. Yeah. I'm kind of debating on the West. So I got some flack for saying, hey, like, why are we so convinced that Bama's over LSU in the West, right? And now I'm kind of like going through and doing my ballot. I'm like, shoot, like this Bama guy, this Bama guy, this Bama guy are like really good players.
Yeah.
I really haven't decided yet. We're going to make a little video about that, I think. They want me to do it for social media. So I'm kind of coin flippy on it.
It's been interesting the 3 days we've been up here so far. LSU's going to be picked to win the West. Now, we always get everything wrong here. The media does every time we pick. But I'm fully expecting on Friday LSU's going to be favored to win the West. I will be surprised if they are not favored. Now, you got to go. That doesn't mean anything. We still got to go play games and win, and we'll see. But when Bama isn't favored, it's notable. And I think this is the first time there's sort of I don't know if it's a consensus, but there's certainly a preponderance of the media here who believe Bama's got legit questions.
There's a logic puzzle here. Okay, so Tommy Rees spent his last 6 weeks at Notre Dame trying to find a guy to come in over Tyler Buchner. Then he goes to Alabama, sees what they have in spring with their quarterbacks, and decides that the answer for their quarterback room is to go get the guy that he was just trying to replace when he was at Notre Dame.
Right.
Like, square that with me. Unless, like, to believe that, you almost have to believe that Buckner's okay being a backup, which maybe he is, maybe he's not. I kind of doubt it, right? The guy's a former 5-star quarterback, and usually you go somewhere you think you're really going to play and win the job. But, I mean, I did, Kublik showed the other day, and McElroy was really on the Simpson train and thinks he's going to take a step forward and be the guy. And I've had other guys tell me they think it'll be Milroe. So I don't know what to make of that. Like, but
all right, figure it out by week 2.
I'm at the bowl game for y'all.
Okay.
Against Purdue, and I'd seen Nussmeier throw against Georgia. How confident are you that Nussmeier is not the better quarterback? Because the way he throws the ball is different.
Yeah, I think if you're just looking at ceiling and arm talent, like NFL ceiling, I understand the Nussmeier conversation. When I'm looking for a starting quarterback to lead this LSU football team, I don't trust him to protect the football.
Okay.
At all.
And Daniels, I mean, he didn't throw a lot of picks and
17 touchdowns.
Have you seen his Sports Info Solutions scrambling score?
No.
It's like the highest in like 10 years. There was a chart. It was like you almost had to zoom out on the chart to show. Yeah, his scramble score was nuts. Sorry, I have two stats.
No,
nerdy.
There was a legit point in LSU season where the best play was, it's breaking down Jaden Run. I mean, until they figured out an offensive line, he kind of started to get more settled. LSU's going to be fascinating this year because if they do have sort of that trampoline effect year 2, boy, they could be really, really good. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just good. Maybe they're 9-3. But they could be the team that goes to Atlanta and beats Georgia. I mean, they could be that team.
So Perkins playing more off-ball linebacker. Should I read
See what you've done here, man? You've
sorry, I'm asking you some questions. My bad.
Please.
All right, so like, should I read into that they have confidence in their DNs enough to put him at off-ball linebacker? Because he was their best pass rusher for a while last year.
I think the answer is that Matt House is so creative.
Okay.
They're still. I mean, I asked this question point blank, and the answer was that Perkins. There's still going to be situations where Perkins is playing on the end in that jack spot. They're just trying. The way teams started to combat it was they would start to flex a tight end out, and they would get Perkins out of the box away from the line of scrimmage, so he couldn't be as effective. But ultimately, I think what they want is they want Harold Perkins to be Devin White, where you're going to be able to blitz on the inside. You can defend sideline to sideline. You can turn and run. I mean, he's that special an athlete. So that's going to be his opportunity at the next level to be the 3-down linebacker. But well, he's something, man.
And Spates isn't a slouch either. I thought he was great for Oregon State.
Yeah, he'll be a 100-tackle guy. He needs to be a 100-tackle guy on this team. So, Bud Elliott, follow him on Twitter at Bud Elliott3. We appreciate it, man.
Matt, enjoyed it, man.
We're here at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Landon Jackson, former LSU defensive end, now junior Arkansas defensive end. Landon Jackson will visit with us. Glad you're here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. Eric, who is a U.S. military member, just sold his second home with Darren James, told this story on Facebook. Would highly recommend you go follow the Darren James Facebook page, and you could see it was somewhat complicated because while Eric was serving our country in the military, out of pocket a lot during the process, but because Darren and his team pride themselves on constant communication, constantly keeping their clients up to date every step of the way, whether buying or selling, they got it done. And Darren, another raving fan there in Eric. It's Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. If you are thinking about selling your home, y'all, this is the time. There is a lack of inventory in the market right now, so if you are a seller or could be a seller, you need to call Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk. Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week. Where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
With former LSU and current Arkansas defensive end Landon Jackson. Here's that conversation. Day 3 Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, joined now by a guy who LSU fans certainly know well. Used to wear the purple and gold, now the red and white. Is Arkansas defensive end Landon Jackson. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Man, it's good to see you. I would love to know, for you personally, your biggest change in the year and a half now, plus going into season 2 in Arkansas from your year in Baton Rouge.
I'd say my health. I'm a lot more healthier than I was at that time. My time at Baton Rouge, I was coming off of an ankle injury down there. And then right when I get off that ankle injury, I had the ACL hit me. And, I mean, I was just in the dumps. I was in a depression. I was like, man, can I just not be healthy? And I'd say that's the biggest thing that has changed is just my health and then my confidence in my abilities.
The ACL was at the end of your high school career, or was it in spring?
The ACL actually hit me in week 5. It was right before we played. It was week 5, week 6, or right before we played Florida.
Yeah.
During the fall at LSU, and then I was in a boot and everything because I broke my ankle my senior year of high school.
That's right.
So I was in that boot all the way through my spring semester, all the way literally till the last week of fall camp.
I remember you missed spring. You were early enrollee. You missed spring.
Yep, I missed spring, and then I missed most of fall camp.
Yeah.
So I was still recovering off that because I started practicing and I started playing special teams, stuff like that at LSU. But, that ankle just wasn't healthy. It was something that just needed time to heal because I broke it middle of my high school season, my senior year. And the doctor was like, oh, yeah, you need at least a year. You're going to have to recover this. And I'm not going to say I rushed back into it because it was ready to go, but I still had a lot of that pain just from it. Still somewhat being injured, but it was good to go. And I think that's one thing that, just taking the game off for a year almost, not being able to walk for 4 months, I think that kind of threw me off at my time at LSU. And then I also think it could have been what led into my ACL injury, trying to just not fully having good feel with my body. So I think this past year and a half, I've really focused on recovery, treatment, and balance work, stuff like that, everything just to get my body feeling great.
Yeah. You were also at LSU at a weird time.
Yeah.
The 21 season, you were coming off of COVID, and it was look, Ed Ogeron was under the microscope. We know what happened. He was fired in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
I think you're a great example of why the transfer portal works. Having used it, I would love to know your thought now on what opportunity the portal gave you.
I think it gave me a lot of opportunity. My biggest reason I entered the portal was, whenever I was going through those injuries, I fell into depression. I was like, am I good enough? Why do I keep getting injured? Just thoughts like that. And I needed family around me. And so my thing, like whenever I entered the portal, I knew I had a good mindset of the places that I could possibly go. It was either Arkansas or one of the close Texas schools. And I ended up choosing Arkansas because I have family up in Fayetteville. It's 3.5 hours from home. And, it all worked out. It was great.
Yeah. Landon Jackson is with us, Arkansas defensive end. And I'm a big fan of the portal.
Yeah.
I'm an extremist in this. Like, I think guys should be able to go wherever they want, whenever they want to play. And I'm huge on NIL, so my audience knows this isn't anything new. So I look at that and I go, man, it was a situation where you were injured, wasn't working, you had a better opportunity.
Exactly.
And now you go into the situation with Sam Pittman. And, I asked Coach Pittman this, a couple of years ago, because of the success Ed Ogeron had initially. I think that opened up eyes for a lot of athletic directors to say, maybe you don't have to be a coordinator. Maybe the guy that is the recruiter and the guy that can manage a staff and a program and can be a head coach. How would you compare and contrast Ogeron and Sam Pittman?
That's a big reason why I chose Arkansas, actually, because they have a lot of similarities, actually. Like, throughout their, I love Coach O to this day, but, they have so many similarities, and Coach Pittman just seems like a real guy. Like, he's a really real person, and I love that about him. He's transparent. What the media sees, what the world sees is what I see. Yeah. We're in meetings, we're in practice, and the dude's just, cares about everybody, loves his players. So, I love playing for the guy.
Yeah. When you look forward to this season, first of all, what was it like playing against LSU last year?
It was a fun game. Playing against some old friends. Just chopping it up with everybody after the game. It was great.
I don't know that I would call that game fun, Landon. That game was a whole mood, man. KJ wasn't there.
Yeah.
Harold Perkins is going ham. They needed to be. Yeah. It was the week after Bama. It was crazy.
No, it was fun for me. I wish we could have capitalized on the game, but it was a cool moment. It really was. I got to play against a lot of guys that were in my recruiting class. My old roommate, Garrett Dellinger.
Oh, nice.
Dellinger, he plays O-line there, and it was cool playing against him. I talked to a lot of guys after the game. Ollie Gay was one of my biggest mentors while I was there.
Cool.
And, me and him still text to this day. I talked to him after the draft, stuff like that. And it was good getting to speak with all those guys.
I was going to ask if there's guys that you still keep in touch with.
Yeah, I stay in touch with Ollie a little bit. I talked to Mason, and I probably talked to Mason Smith and then Garrett Nesmeyer, probably the most out of guys I stay in touch with. I just got engaged, I want to say 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
And thank you. And then Mason was one of the first ones to actually FaceTime me and congratulate me, talk to me about it and everything. So, no, it's all love for all those guys over there still.
About this season, you got KJ back, obviously, decided to take advantage of the 5th year. Is this a team – I look at Arkansas' schedule, man. And Sam Pittman got asked this last year in the main room. He said, you have the toughest schedule in America. Why does your schedule maker hate you? That's basically how they phrased it. I mean, the schedule that Arkansas has to play year in and year out, it's brutal.
Yeah.
So when you look at the schedule, or do you all even consider the schedule when you start to think about your season as a whole?
We really take it week by week, and that's really the only way to go about it when you're playing SEC ball. We have a tough schedule, but everybody does, honestly. It's a tough league to play in, especially in the West. The East is rough too, but the SEC West, it's just tough week after tough week after tough week. You just got to take it week by week, day by day, and not make mistakes. That's the biggest thing that I've realized in the SEC, because a lot of these teams are really pretty even. It's just more so the team who makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the ball game. So
you excited to play in Tiger Stadium as an opponent?
I'm excited to be back and see the stadium, see the city. Food's great down there. Hopefully they cater some good food at the hotel. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to go back, play LSU, see the stadium again, see some old faces. So it'll be a fun one.
Man, week 3, it's BYU in Fayetteville. Then you come to Baton Rouge, A&M in Arlington. You're at Ole Miss, at Alabama, and then Mississippi State in Fayetteville. Yeah. Brother, it is not for the meek.
It'd sound a lot better if all those were home games. That's for sure.
Landon Jackson, former LSU Tiger, now defensive end for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Man, I wish you good health this season and a great junior year, man. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. It was good getting to speak with you.
A really impressive young guy, and one of those who faced a lot of adversity, as you heard him say, battled injuries. He battled depression when he was going through those injuries. Tore an ACL, he had the ankle injury, and cost him a bulk of his freshman year in Baton Rouge. He was injured in high school. So, but a guy who's overcome a lot, found a really good landing spot there at Fayetteville, and continues to grow and develop and be a leader there as he heads into his junior year. Landon Jackson, big, just a giant too. He's 6'7", 275. He's just a massive, thickly built human being. So we wish him well. All the best this season. Okay, it is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. 2 segments to go. We'll take the time to recap the day and look at both Alabama and Arkansas and Florida and Kentucky as they took their turns earlier today, kind of give you an overview of both of them as they depart here today from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Day. Stick around with us here at AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You always get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Told you about this yesterday. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to go check out Rouse's on social media. If it's Instagram or Facebook. Rouse's launched, has announced, I should say, the launch of a really cool new program that they're doing at all of their Rouse's locations. You can read about it all at any of the Rouse's social media. It's the Buy 4, Save More program that's going on that they've just launched at Rouse's. It's going to allow you to buy and try new wines and different wines and interesting wines. So if you love wine and you want to try new stuff, it's a great way to do it at Rouse's. You can get great deals on select wine and spirits in-store, and they'll give you an extra 10% off your total purchase if you buy at least 4 bottles of wine or spirit. So go check it out. It's the Buy 4, Save More program at Rouse's, where you can mix and match. That's at Rouse's. This feels like home.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service. Powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week. Where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Let's talk. As both the Crimson Tide and the Gators took their turns here today, one of the things that we've talked about a good bit with Nick and or about Alabama, and it's been my contention that part of the reason that, of course, everything in context matters. I was going to say part of the reason why Alabama has struggled. I mean, they were 10-2 a year ago. Let's not forget that. But and LSU's likely going to be picked to win the West this year, here by the media anyway. So. In college football context, Alabama is still dominant. In Alabama context, struggled. Okay, I'll use that loosely. I think it's because, in part, that the transfer portal has hurt them. For years and years and years, when Nick was at Alabama, so much of the narrative, especially as it pertained to LSU, is that LSU would always lose guys early to the draft, and Nick somehow got guys to stay. And people would joke, well, it's because they take a pay cut when they go to the NFL. Make the jokes that you will, but ultimately, whatever the reason was, Nick had a way of selling his players on staying. And there's tons of examples of that, from impactful quarterbacks like A.J. McCarron to impactful edge rushers like Tim Williams. And there were plenty of guys like that. Well, that always allowed Alabama, when they had these top-rated signing classes, to continue to stockpile veteran talent because guys didn't leave. Well, now in the portal era, guys are leaving. And I think similarly, by contrast, what's happening also is the portal guys that Nick has brought in so far haven't been massively impactful guys. There are exceptions. I'll get to that in a second. But here first, can you play 7, please, Muse? Here was Nick Saban explaining his approach to the portal.
Well, we've continued to try to build our team through recruiting quality high school talent. And we use the portal sort of as you would use free agency in the NFL. When we feel like we have a need at a position, we would look and see if anybody's available in the portal that would, help us at that particular position. And I think this year we brought 5 guys in from the portal to complement. I think we had like 28 freshmen maybe.
So that it's not a bad approach to say keep building through the high school class and supplement in the portal. The problem inherently is when you sign 28 guys out of your freshman class and there's no disincentive for them leaving, more guys are going to leave. And so you're not going to build 28 guys and continue to grow and develop them over 3 and 4 and 5 years. Your numbers are going to take a hit, and it's going to hurt your depth. And I think we've seen that at Alabama. And the flip side of it is when they've taken portal guys, it hasn't necessarily worked. Here's what I mean. Alabama saw 2 spectacular wide receivers go to the NFL. Well, you saw, of course, Devontae Smith win the Heisman, go to the NFL. But, Jameson Williams went to the NFL, of course, was injured in the national championship game. And so they had a need and went into the portal and got 2 receivers last year, Tyler Harrell and Jermaine Burton. Harrell was Louisville's best receiver, and Burton was at Georgia. Burton ended up catching 40 passes, had a nice season, but wasn't what they needed. No, wasn't what they got when they had Jameson Williams, right? And Tyler Harrell, who they brought in from Louisville, had 2 catches on the year, 2. I would argue that maybe Alabama's biggest deficiency offensively last year was the lack of playmaking wide receivers, which they had and had an abundance of in years prior. They missed. Now, they went in the portal and got Tyler Steen, who played for him, an offensive lineman from Vanderbilt. Played for him, but didn't have a dominant year. And they got Eli Ricks, who we remember, of course, from LSU, who battled some injuries last year and never emerged as a starter for Alabama. Went to the NFL draft and went undrafted. That was a miss. And the one hit was Jahmyr Gibbs, who was sensational. Without Jahmyr Gibbs, their offense would have been just Bryce Young. So you were 1 for 5 last year. Maybe 2 because Tyler Steen did play for you. But the point is, you're not keeping your veteran players that you have been so able to keep and develop throughout 3 and 4 and 5 years on campus. And the guys that they brought in were largely misses. And I think that's why you've seen Alabama's roster look leaner and thinner than we're accustomed to seeing. So now you take Bryce Young off the team, you take Jahmyr Gibbs off the team, and then you look at this schedule and you go, okay, well, it's great that you had a great signing class, but look at Texas A&M, who had the best signing class ever, literally by grade ever, a year ago, and they went 5 and 7. If you're counting on freshmen, that's a problem. Then look at LSU. Brian Kelly didn't just take players in the portal. Yes, he took players at positions they needed, but he also was looking for something in particular. The special sauce that Kelly looked for a year ago was Louisiana guys. He wanted guys that were from Louisiana, who didn't have an LSU offer when they were coming out, who left Louisiana, went and played somewhere else, were in the portal, and he could bring them home. You know the list. Jar Bernard Converse, Greg Brooks, Joe Fouché, Mekhi Garner. And it worked. It worked. He had core culture guys and veteran players that made sense. So it's not just hitting the portal. It's what are you looking for in the portal that Brian Kelly seemingly had figured out a year ago, and maybe has this year, we'll see, that maybe Nick Saban and Alabama are lacking a bit. I think that's a very key component to how they progress this year. We'll talk about Florida in just a second. Quick reminder about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. With 19 locations all over the state of Louisiana, 18 locations, all over the state of Louisiana. The latest is in Laplace. Hey, remember, I got to remind you, this Friday, mark this down. It's 2 days, this Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Airline Highway location in Baton Rouge. Shawbills is having a hiring blitz. If you are looking for a job, if you have a job but you want a career that will afford you advancement and great benefits, if you have experience in the automotive service industry or have no experience whatsoever, Shawbills wants to talk to you. They're a great company, family-owned and operated, have been for more than 50 years. You can learn more at shawbillstire.com. You can apply online at shawbillstire.com. Or this Friday, again, go to their hiring blitz Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Airline Highway location in Baton Rouge. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. One more thought here. We haven't spent a ton of time talking about the Gators, but Ricky Pearsall was with us earlier, Florida wide receiver, who was Jaden Daniels' teammate at Arizona State for 3 years and then transferred to Florida a year ago. So really they followed the same path. Signed with Arizona State together in 2019. They were there together for 3 years. And then Jaden now will spend 2 years in Baton Rouge, and Ricky Pearsall will spend 2 years in Gainesville. So we got to hear from Ricky Pearsall a bit earlier today. But who is going to be throwing the ball to Ricky Pearsall? We're all assuming that's going to be Graham Mertz, the Wisconsin transfer. And Billy Napier today in the big room did talk about Graham Mertz and that quarterback battle.
You know, I've been very impressed with Graham. Graham's a 32-start player. He's played over 2,000 snaps at a really established program in Wisconsin. We went through an extensive process to make that decision. You know, I think Graham's an accomplished player. But more importantly, I've been impressed with the person, the leader. This guy has an incredible motor and work ethic. He is in the building, and he is fanatical about his preparation. So I think that has helped the competition. I think it's caused Jack to respond. Jack's had an incredible offseason, and we've been really pleased with a young player, Max Brown. He's had a good summer. He's impressed the staff, and he's impressed his teammates. So we're excited about that competition. It'll go into training camp, and we'll make a decision when we see fit for the team.
Is a team this year, when you look at that schedule, you better be ready to sprint from jump. They open up in Salt Lake City against Utah on August the 31st. So a road game against Utah where they got a veteran quarterback in Cam Rising coming back. After that, they'll play McNeese State, and then they're home against Tennessee. I mean, and then it lightens up. Charlotte, you got to go to Kentucky. I'm not saying that's a light game, but you get Vanderbilt at home. You got to go to Columbia, South Carolina. You get your open date. And then you look at that stretch run for Florida. You got Georgia and Jacksonville. You got Arkansas at home. You got to go to Baton Rouge, and then you're at Missouri and finish up against Florida State. So you'll know from jump what this Florida team is going to be. And then, boy, if they really stumble – and you look at how that season could finish, it could be another ugly, ugly year for Billy Napier and the Gators. Graham Mertz is a guy who's played a ton of football, but it's also fair to say, man, if he were the guy they wanted him to be at Wisconsin, he wouldn't have left. Now, that's also to say, well, you could say the same thing about a guy like Jaden Daniels, who was a 3-year starter at Arizona State and left. A little bit of a different circumstance there, of course, with Mertz, who lost his job at Wisconsin. So, if, in fact, the Gators are counting on the Wisconsin transfer, that is a steep hill to climb considering that schedule with all that they've lost and not replenished in Gainesville. Man, they got a lot of work to do there in year 2 under Billy Napier. All right, it is after further review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back, put a button on day number 3 here at SEC Football Media Days. I will give you a final thought on Kentucky and Arkansas as well. We're glad you're with us here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Also, I'll remind you again, if you missed it, for everyone who was looking for one of the 88 Reasons to Rally hats, they're in. And so if you got one of them, that sent you an email. So check your email from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Tell you every day, if you've been in an accident, you've been injured, and it's not your fault, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. Call 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You know, we talk all the time, of course, about all the great things that Gordon does. But aside from that, Gordon Gives, the charitable arm of the firm that I love to tell you about because they do so much good all throughout the year in all of our communities around the state. You can learn more by going to GordonGives.com. GordonGives.com. The latest is a vacation giveaway. It's G's Getaway Giveaway. They're giving away 7 vacations to families. Here's an opportunity to win. Go to GordonGives.com.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 7.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Of course, T-Bob and I always on Wednesday are over at Oliver Twist for Scone and Tea. Obviously, no show tonight. We are here in Nashville. One more day tomorrow, and tomorrow will be an interesting day. Lane Kiffin, who's, for better or worse, always going to get people's attention. I love to hear from Coach Kiffin. He's one of the real interesting personalities in college football. So they'll start today at 9:05 Central Time. Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks will also go in the morning, and then Josh Heupel and the Vols will wrap things up starting about 11:15 Central Time, and they'll finish their day around 2:15 in the afternoon. So this thing is the reason that, for those who aren't familiar, on the final day, we get down here and can record as much as we're able, and then send it back to studio, because by the time we're on air from 3 to 6 p.m., this thing is over. So there were a lot of years we were in Hoover, and, man, they're breaking down tables and sweeping the floor and looking at us like, when are y'all leaving? So it's the best way to go about doing the final day for afternoon drive. So we'll look forward to getting a lot of content. We'll shoot it back to studio, and Muso will drive the ship tomorrow from studio, letting you hear a lot of our final day content. So we're looking forward to that. All right, it is after further review. We talked about Bama and Florida. The other two schools that were here today, Kentucky and Arkansas. Kentucky, listen, Devin Leary, I think, is just a really fascinating thing. I was talking to Hester, who's hanging here on Radio Row, and he kind of let me know. I assume that this is for air. Apparently that they did offer for Devin Leary to come, and he declined. So said he hadn't earned it, which, so respect to him for that. But he's a fascinating. Either way, he's a fascinating. He is a fascinating test case in the league this year, because Kentucky's a team that went 6-7 a year ago, and the standard of a program that had started to elevate, and won 10 games a couple of seasons ago, and had Will Levis last year, You had Chris Rodriguez at running back. You had Cavassier Smoke. You had some talented players there, man. And to take that step back, to lose to Vanderbilt was, I think, was jarring for a lot of people there. So how do they bounce back? Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron to start, and then they play Vanderbilt in Nashville. So it's a really good chance Kentucky starts 4-0, and then they get Florida at home. So, man, if Kentucky is a 5-0 team and 2-0 in the SEC, they go to Athens, Georgia, for a battle of potential unbeaten. So that's going to be an interesting one worth circling. Then they get Missouri at home. So even if you drop the Georgia game, there's a good chance Kentucky starts 5-1 before they go into their open date. Then they finish with a home game against Tennessee. They're at Mississippi State. Got to play Bama in Lexington. Then they get South Carolina and Louisville to wrap up the season. So, it's probably a season where Kentucky starts really strong, potentially 5-0. We'll see what happens when they play Florida. But there's a real chance that they could start 6-1 or 5-2. But that's a pretty brutal stretch in the late October and into November for the Kentucky Wildcats. I'll take a quick look at Arkansas as well. Got to remind you about our friends over at DraftKings, official sports betting partner of ours here on AFR. Remember, right now, DraftKings is inviting all new users to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on anything. Futures bet on college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, any prop, whatever you want. $5 bet on anything right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook. With the promo code Baton Rouge, they'll give you $150 in bonus bets instantly. So, new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Maybe you've been using another app. Great. Perfect time to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code Baton Rouge and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Licensed partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. For the Razorbacks, Sam Pittman is a guy who, God bless, his players love him. He's a straight shooter, and he's a pretty good football coach as well. But the schedule has been absolutely brutal, and the schedule makers have been brutal. I am fascinated that KJ Jefferson is back for another year, and Dan Enos is back in Fayetteville. Enos was a great assistant there one time prior, bounced around, was recently at Miami, is now back at Arkansas. He's a guy that I really thought did a fantastic job and wanted LSU to consider when Ogeron was replacing Steve Ensminger. Ultimately, they ended up going with Jake Peets, but can Dan Enos get the unlock there and KJ Jefferson with a veteran team to get that thing over the hump in the SEC West? Very tall task with that schedule they face. All right, that's going to do it for us here from Radio Row, Day 3 at SEC Football Media Days. Thanks to all of our guests, Landon Jackson, Octavius Oxendine, Bud Elliott, Dallas Turner, Eddie Radosevich, Peter Burns, and there's probably others I'm leaving out, so my apologies if I did. You miss any of our content, you can get it on demand, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. Thanks to Rivers Huey for producing on site. Fantastic job as always, Rivs. We appreciate it. Paulie Muse back in studio. Thanks to y'all. Have an awesome night. We'll see you for Day 4 of SEC Media Days tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, get to remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. If you want to see 2020, if you want to ditch those contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help you do it. Call Dr. Blake Williamson. Set up that free consultation. I don't care where you're listening. Maybe you're in New Orleans. Maybe you're in Lafayette. Maybe you're in Lake Charles. Maybe you're in Alec. Maybe you're at any point in between. When you're talking about something as important as your eyesight, why would you hire anyone other than the best? Why would you go to anyone other than the best? An internationally acclaimed ophthalmologist. Goes all over the world presenting at conferences because Dr. Blake Williams has been on the forefront of ophthalmology, bringing so many advances to our state. Use the best. Do what I did. Call Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. More than 70 years, 3 generations now, it's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.